7 o'clock, we're going to call the meeting to order. Scott, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. If you have cell phones, if you put them on silent or vibrate, that'd be great. This is our first meeting after the election, so I'm going to open up the meeting. So first thing I'll do is entertain a motion for our chairman.
I would make a motion nominating Dick Coombs for chairman.
Second.
So we have nomination for Dick, seconded. Any discussion?
I'd like to say something. I'd like to suggest or request from you, Mr. Coombs, to cut the meetings down and not have them last 4.5 hours. Could you?
I'll give it my best.
I guess that's all I'm looking for. I'm not trying to be too serious about it, but I would like a pledge by you to.
It's only midnight, Bob. I mean, it's not that late.
I can be a little more abrupt when we have to curtail discussion, if that's what you're asking.
That's what I'd like to see.
All right?
I don't think we're getting twice as much done when we used to have the 2.5 hour meetings. Now we're kind of averaging 4.5. So that's all I'm asking.
That's reasonable.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Mr. Combs, meeting's yours.
I would entertain a motion for vice chair.
I make a motion that Bob Spalding continue as vice chair.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded for Bob Spalding to serve as vice chair. Is there any more discussion? Is there any other nominations? Should I ask for that 3 times? You're supposed to, right?
Yeah, I guess
Are you
so.
really?
I didn't do it at all, but.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? That's 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we need a motion for, you don't have my list here, Mike. Parliamentarian, and we need at least a parliamentarian.
I make a motion that Mark Brown be parliamentarian.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'm only gonna ask once for any other nominations. Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, do we need we don't need a secretary for any reason, do we?
It says they recommend it, but we typically done it.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion for, a nomination for secretary.
I make a motion that Rob Steele be secretary.
Second?
Okay.
Any discussion on that? Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, we have our staff. So let's move on. We have to adopt a resolution for day and time of meeting. We have typically met on the 2nd and 4th Monday of the month at this room, at this address. Is there any, or do I have a motion to that effect?
Make a motion, we continue to have our meetings the second and fourth Monday of the month at 7 PM at the firehouse.
Is that 7 to midnight?
7 to midnight.
No.
7 till the work is all done.
Who seconded? Did you grow up?
Rob did.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We need to adopt
Do we all
rules of
need to sign
procedure.
that?
Excuse me?
Do we need to sign that?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it around.
Okay.
I got the original here. We need to adopt the rules of procedure. I have a motion.
I would make a motion that we adopt the rules of procedure of the Town of Castleton Select Board as passed out in our packets.
We'll second that.
Moved and seconded, we adopt the rules of procedure as presented. Any discussion?
Yes. Number 2 on page 2. I'd like to add to it where you're publishing meetings, front porch forum, radio or news media also. And that goes along with number 2 at the bottom.
Where are you, Mary Lee?
Number 2 on the second page, under agendas, where do they have to be posted? And I'd like front porch forum, radio, and news media added to that. And again, number 2 at the bottom, I think also should have that.
What do you mean by news media?
Well, it could be a newspaper, like with Rutland Herald or Lakeside. Free Press is just digital now, I believe.
I don't know
I
about
would-
a radio ad though. You know how expensive radio ads are now?
I don't think we even have radio anymore, do we?
No. I would agree with Front Porch Forum. The paper, Roy, your paper's once a week, correct? So it wouldn't always,
Wouldn't always, but it could.
Well, if his paper comes out on Wednesday, we're always gonna be behind a week. Because we don't have the agendas generally till Thursday or Friday.
Or Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. But it would always be behind.
Okay.
We don't budget for the advertisements now in the paper, but it's been crazy what it costs to put an ad in the paper. I mean, you're talking, for a decent sized ad, you're talking 300, maybe up to $300.
Can we have front porch forum at least? And that would also go on under meetings, number 2. Just at the bottom of the page.
It's missing, town office isn't on there, is it?
Yes, it is.
It says in or near the municipal office and at the following designated public places in the municipality, which is all per state statute. I am reluctant to commit us to any other postings for the agenda in either a normal meeting or a regular or a special meeting, only because then we are legally obligated to do so, and if we, for some reason, fail to do so, we can be called out legally for that. That's the only reason I would be reluctant to do that. We are legally obligated by state statute to comply with Section 2 and on both agendas and meetings.
Yeah, or if no front porch forum comes out that day, then we can't have that meeting.
That comes out sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
No, I'm totally okay with setting an internal policy, asking the town manager or his delegate to make every effort to do that. And if Roy is willing to put it in his paper as well, but not if it's going to cause a legal or legal exposure or an undue burden on town staff. That's my opinion.
We put it in the office and on the website, plus all those other places that are in there, so.
And we can also put it on Front Porch Forum, but I don't know that we want to legally obligate ourselves to do so. I mean, an internal policy where we make every effort to do so is something I would support and suggest, but I don't really feel comfortable changing the rules of procedure to do that.
Up to you.
But I'm only 20% of the board, so you can,
that makes sense. I would hate to have a meeting null and void because Front Porch Forum didn't come out one day.
We have no control over that platform, so.
Right.
We
Right.
have control over posting it on our website or around town,
If our internet was down one day or something.
or their site was down.
so, I have a question for you, Mr. Newton. If we sent you a copy of the agenda on Friday afternoon electronically, would that get out into the public before Monday? I don't know when you publish your,
No.
okay, then that's a moot point.
Not- If you got it to me on Friday, it would be published the following Wednesday.
So that wouldn't be,
No, it's too far gone.
so that wouldn't do us any good.
We put it on the website.
Okay, but you would be willing to do that as news though, correct? Not, you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't call it an advertisement, you would call it news?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be at no cost to us, correct?
That's a question for you, Roy, I believe.
Everything's got a cost. It's a business.
Well, I think he's thinking about it.
You're talking on the website.
Yeah, just the website, not on the paper. Well, we're gonna have put it on our website anyways.
He wanted to know if there would be a cost associated with you doing that.
Not for agenda, no.
Would you be
Okay.
willing to pay us? Okay.
You wanna bet with Mary Lee on that?
Okay, so, we have a motion and a second to approve the rules. Anything else, Mary Lee? Hopefully you understand why we're reluctant to do that.
That's okay.
Anything else on the rules of procedure before we proceed? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did you get that?
We have 1 nay and 4 ayes. Now we need to adopt the conflict of interest policy.
I make a motion that we adopt the policy regarding conflict of interest and ethical conduct as presented in our packet.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the conflict of interest policy and ethical conduct policy as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, there is discussion.
You didn't look at me, so I,
Oh, sorry.
no. Would the timing of the meetings fall under the ethical conduct?
What do you mean? No,
No, okay.
no, this is all about conflict of interest and
Okay, you
recusing
said
yourself.
ethical conduct is what you
I
said.
think what he's saying is he doesn't want long meetings.
This is why they go long. He keeps bringing up this stuff.
You just
Thanks,
added-
Mark.
You just added 5 minutes to the meeting, Bob.
Okay. All right.
Well, at least 4 minutes. Any more discussion on the conflict of interest policy? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for March 10th, 2025.
It's been moved and seconded, we approve the agenda. Any discussion? I have one thing. No other? Okay, the rec commissioner has a personal matter, family matter that he has to take care of, so he was excused tonight. Do you have a report in his stead, Mike, or do we want to eliminate that from the agenda?
The copy I have has it off anyway.
Yeah, we don't have a.
Where do you see that, Dick?
Oh, it was on the, I was looking at the agenda that you provided me Friday. Okay,
Yeah, no, it's off there.
I decided it's not good.
then belay my last. We're even now. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
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 So while we're still signing papers, I will accept citizens' comments.
Do we want to
Any
approve the
items?
minutes or do we want to not do that?
Oh, did I skip that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did we vote on approving the agenda? We vote on it?
Yes.
Yes,
did?
did.
Did I say anything?
Aye.
We did?
Eh?
Okay. So how about we approve the agenda for February, or approve the minutes for February 24th?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for February 24th.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for February 24th. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes?
You had nothing, Mary Lou?
I have nothing.
Neither did I.
Aye.
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 Now we'll go to citizens' comments. Mr. Newton? And
Roy, just a matter of clarification, I was read the booklet for the Selectboard filling today, and on one page on the official newspapers, they had Lake Susan Free Press, which I don't think prints anymore. So I was just wondering if we were still on the list as on the official newspapers.
when we get to that part of the agenda, Roy, I was gonna bring that up.
Further down?
Yeah, that's under, well, it's under the appointment of town officials. That's also
Okay,
the
thank
newspaper, and I
Thank you.
don't think you were on the list, but I think you should be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Items not on the agenda. And we'll move on to appointment of town officials. So we have overseer of historic cemeteries, Rutland County, well, that's a separate agenda item. Town attorney, tree warden, tree warden, bank designation, newspaper designations, and I believe that to be it. Do you agree with that, Mike?
Did you say the newspapers?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So is everyone on this list willing to serve another term? I can ask Scott Welch in person, are you willing to serve another term as as tree warden?
Yes.
We cannot ask the rest of the people.
I've contacted them. The only person I wasn't able to get a hold of, didn't return my call, was Ray Ladd. But I talked to the Ken Flowers, Kevin Fenton, the attorneys, Scott I asked. I think that was it. And then there's the Lake Region Free Press, that one there, to either take that off or add Roy's paper.
So the only question is, what do we do about Mr. Ladd? Do we have no knowledge of whether he's willing to do another year?
I don't see why he wouldn't, but if you appoint him and I finally get in touch with him, he doesn't want to do it, you could always rescind the appointment.
Let's do that.
I think you're pretty safe.
Yeah,
I think so too, but it's better if you hear them say it.
Yep.
So if someone wants to do a motion
I have a
to,
couple questions.
okay,
You've got Jim Thomas in here as planning commission. I understood a few meetings ago he resigned. Am I right?
Correct.
And planning commission is badly in need of some help. And the recreation commission, there's two places there. And our constable, I guess that's taken care of. But I would like to suggest before we fill these positions that we, through Front Porch Forum or somewhere, put it out that they're open and see if we can't get some residents to get off there and take charge.
give us some effort. That, I do agree with everything you just said. However, that won't stop us from appointing the historic cemetery commissioners and the town attorneys. And the tree warden.
Yeah, and there's also the Rutland County Solid Waste District alternate.
That's on the agenda though, correct?
I think so.
Thought that was on the agenda.
Yeah.
For the first one, it is.
District.
Those are the district appointments, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
That's why I skipped over that one.
I just shot now.
No, I may be wrong, but on the DVR don't we now have 9 members? Didn't it go from 5 to 9? And it seems to me that Laura Sargent came here at one point and said that they were at a disadvantage because they needed 5 people, and they didn't always have 5 people to hold a meeting in order to have a quorum. So is that something we should consider, putting it back to 5, or pushing to get some more people on it?
I think that we decided, I don't recall exactly, but I think we decided to leave it alone for now. They typically have at least 5 people show up.
Well, she had said it. They had a lot of times they didn't have 5 people show up. And so you're slowing the wheels of motion.
Yeah, they have to have at least
If they
4
don't
for a
have
quorum. At this point, they have to have 4 for a quorum.
There's actually one below that too, so it's not 5 of 5, right?
There's 6. Because Mr. Alexander is not an alternate, he is a member.
I know he's a member. It's here as a member.
So right now, there's 6 members of the DRB.
Right.
Not according to this, there's not.
Yeah, you gotta count.
Do I not
The
see
number's
it?
just missing behind John's name.
Yeah, but one of those is vacant.
Well, that's true.
You only have
Oh,
5
yeah, you're
members.
right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Unless I need to go back to math class.
Well, you're right.
There's Keller, Sargent, Kayat, Delancey, and Alexander.
So everybody needs to
3,
show up in
4,
order for them to have a
So every
meeting.
single
They have to have
person
3
has to
people for a
show up.
quorum, just
3
like
of the 5,
just
right?
like us. If only 3
No,
people,
They have 9.
We have 9, so it has to be 5. Or we have to change the 9 back down to 5.
Yeah, but there's not 9 members, so.
We voted that there should be 9 members.
But we don't have 9
It
members.
doesn't matter. We have to meet the 9 members. We have to meet the 5.
Are you sure of that?
Absolutely.
That question came up, they said it's not the number of people that are, if you have vacancies, you have to count the vacancies towards your quorum.
Wow.
So we have a dilemma, either get more people or go with the 5 that we've got and move it back to 5. Don't look at me like that.
I wasn't, I was looking at the fly on the wall.
I think that we should table that part of this discussion and talk to the DRB and the DRB chair. And then make a decision on what if any action we're gonna take there.
Is Laura still the chair? Or is Pat Keller the chair?
I believe Laura Sargent is still the chair, is that correct, Mike?
I've heard nothing different to that.
Yes.
Well, she's the one that came and asked. She's the one that
If
came.
she doesn't know Mary Lee, then,
No, she came in and said they couldn't have a meeting
oh yeah, because the quorum.
unless every single person came.
Can we at least appoint the 5 that we have here, so we don't lose any of
We
them?
don't need to, they're already appointed.
Oh, you don't
I
need
only
to,
mentioned the people that we have to take action on tonight.
oh, you don't need to reappoint them?
No, we do not.
Okay, so they're just
I'm
locked
not
in?
arguing that.
No, I just wondering.
And you're right to raise the concern. But we have to take action on the cemetery commissioners, the RCSW rep, which is on the agenda as a separate item, town attorneys, et cetera. The things that I've highlighted on here, Bob, is what we gotta take action on.
Okay, I didn't get a copy of that, so,
You didn't get this?
well, not highlighted.
Well, I highlighted them.
Okay. I don't have a highlighter to do that, so.
Those are the ones we have to take action on tonight. Want to make a motion to appoint,
No, I don't really, let Mary Lee do it. Then she spoke to it.
and
Is that okay?
as long as we get it done.
Okay.
So I would like to hear a motion or entertain a motion for overseers of historic cemeteries.
Make a motion for his first name, Mr. Ladd, to, if he accepts to be overseer of cemeteries.
Well, I would, could you make a motion for all three positions at this point?
Well, two of them are already locked in till 2026, Dick.
I just
Oh,
changed
that's,
that,
You
because I
just,
talked to him.
okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, they expired. They're a 1 year and they expire,
I understand now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
so this is deceptive. They're
I'll make a
not-
motion that we reappoint Ray Ladd, Ken Flowers, and Kevin Eaton to a 1-year term of overseers of historic cemeteries.
Can you change your motion to Kevin Fenton?
What did I say?
You said Eaton.
I'm sorry. I would make a motion that we reappoint Ray Ladd, Ken Flowers, and Kevin Fenton for 1-year terms as overseers of historic cemeteries.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The Rutland County Solid Waste Rep is a separate item on the agenda, so let's skip that. And the alternate, and so we need to move on to town attorney.
I would make a motion that we appoint Michael Tarrant, Lois Vandenberg Baldwin, and Merrill Bent as our town attorneys for 1 year.
Second?
Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Scott Welch as tree warden for 1 year.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Need a bank designation.
I would make a motion that we appoint M&T Bank
Not Bat Harbor.
in Bar Harbor
Yes.
as town banks for, is that a 1-year term?
You're already here until 26.
Because I changed them because they
Changed.
were, they had accepted, so.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's 2 apologies he's gotten already.
I should have made an annotation.
Did we get a second on that motion?
I'll second
I'll
that.
second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Newspaper designations. I would suggest, what's the proper name for your, it's,
Lakeside News and the Rutland Sun.
okay.
Make a motion, we appoint the Lakeside News and Rutland Sun, Lakes Region Free Press, and Rutland Herald as designated newspapers.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. The only discussion I have is, do we want to leave the Lakes Region Free Press on the list since they no longer actually publish a hard copy? They're 100% online?
I don't know,
Just
I thought we'd remove them.
Yeah, I personally, I would rather go with the hard copied papers.
That would be my preference, I don't know if other people read it or not.
Then can you amend your motion to remove Lakes Region Free Press?
Okay, I'm gonna amend my motion to appoint Lakeside News and Rutland Sun and Rutland Herald as our designated newspapers.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that's all we have to do tonight, correct, Mike? Did I get them all?
The last one here, you probably should ask right now.
Well, we gotta do the Rutland County Solid Waste Rep, but that's on the agenda in a separate place, so.
Yeah, I don't know if Jim Thomas's resignation was officially accepted. I don't remember seeing anything in writing, but maybe he did. I'll come back to that one.
Well, in any case, we're not gonna reappoint him if he's
Right.
potentially resigned.
Well, he's not due for it anyway right now. so-
Yeah. So that's not anything we need to take action on tonight.
What about, the fire warden, which expires, no, I don't know, it doesn't. Yeah, it expires in 25.
Oh, good point. I missed that one.
And Rutland Regional Planning Commission expires in 25.
In June.
It hasn't expired yet.
Oh, June 30th. That's why I skipped over him. We don't need to take action on those till May.
Shouldn't we though?
But we don't know if those people want to be reappointed or not
Hey,
yet.
do you guys want to be reappointed?
They don't need to be reappointed because they're still on until June. So
Yeah,
we'll do it
that's-
in one of our June meetings.
So we usually do that
Don't
in May.
forget about it.
Our town manager will
You're-
not
you're
let us
making it
forget about
longer.
it. He's part elephant.
There's other ones in there too, so that are in June, too.
Yeah,
so.
there's a bunch of stuff we have to do in June usually. We typically do that, it's typically the last meeting in May, we do a bunch of appointments again.
Okay, I've got one other thing that I want to slap Mike outside of the head. We don't have a zoning administrator.
We don't.
We don't?
Didn't you change it to administrative officer?
No.
I didn't change anything. That's normally what they're called. We just call it the zoning administrator, so I didn't change anything. It's not my authority to change the name.
And this little thing here,
It's changed in the
It's
UDO.
changed.
Yeah, because that's what everybody's using, so when you accept it, I guess you're accepting the name change. But that's what they're called, administrative officers in most places.
Are you confused like I am?
No, I'm understanding it. I think we're getting stuck in the weeds on a few things here. So I'm gonna move on. In honor of Mr. Spalding, we're moving on.
Thank you.
Okay, Recreation Commission appointments and Charter of Rights and Responsibilities discussion. I will have to say that I have been delinquent on getting hold of Mr. Brown to change the charter. I think I know what we need to change as far as membership. And Martha, the Rec Commission Chair, has asked to be change some of the wording on the monthly meeting attendance. And you saw that too, Mark, didn't you? The email from Martha? Well, I think what we'll do is, I'm going to wait on this, put it on the action item for me to get a hold of you.
Okay.
And,
What about the appointments?
now that we can do,
Okay.
if we so choose to. So we have
Do that tonight.
yeah,
We said at the last meeting, we do it tonight.
I remember pulling his letter and putting it in this packet, now I don't see it.
Mr. Chairman, if you're doing that.
Oh, here we have it.
On the back of that, on page 2 of the, this list, where the rec commissioners are, there's terms in there, right? So they're all listed as 3-year terms right now, but they're end at different times, but when you make your nomination, I'll fill this stuff in according to
that on the sheet?
whatever you say.
That's on the sheet here.
Yeah.
So we can appoint for a 3-year term for a rec commission, so that term would expire on June 30th of 2028, is that correct? Slightly over 3 years, but. So we either have to appoint for 40 months or 28 months.
could I make a suggestion?
I'm listening.
You're listening. I'm taking over for Bob talking all the time. I had asked earlier that we put an ad out for extra help on different, where all the vacancies is. I'd like to hold off, excuse me, Josh, to see if we can't fill it with Castleton residents and not go to Fairhaven. It is the Castleton Recreation.
I understand your position. I think that the Rec Commission has, how many people?
9.
Up to 9. There are 5 vacancies right now. And I believe that we were talking about having,
College with no vote and a high school with no vote.
but that we could have voting members from adjoining communities as long as that number did not constitute a majority.
Yeah, what we're going to do.
Yes, we did. I'm just counteracting, and I think we should try to fill it with Castleton first. We did make that other towns can hold the position.
What we had discussed and what Mark and I are going to do is we're going to change the language so the commission can be made up of 5 to 9 appointed members, but a majority of which has to be Castleton residents. So there would never be a majority of non-residents on the board.
I know that. I understand that.
So your position is clear. Do we have a motion to appoint Mr. Ferguson to the Rec Commission or not?
I would make a motion that we appoint Josh Ferguson to be a member of the Recreation Commission as a full voting member. Now, Mr. Ferguson lives in Fairhaven, but he is a property owner and taxpayer in Castleton.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board?
I've made my discussion.
Yes, any other discussion? I want to make sure that we have. Josh, do you have anything you would like to say? And if so, please approach the podium.
Hi, Joshua Ferguson. To address Mary's concern about being a resident of Castleton and Castleton first, I actually agree with that. I have a deep roots in Castleton, so in the first years of my life I lived here. I learned to sail here, and I teach I'm an instructor with the sailing camp, and I'll continue to do that. And a lot of the youth work I've done in Rutland County has involved Fairhaven, Castleton, and many of the towns around the county. So I have a connection to this area, apart from like an ancestral connection. So I think I can serve well in the meantime and even help recruit a Castleton resident to fill out the commission more fully. I would be willing to help do that.
Thank you.
But yeah,
This is for
I'm
you.
eager to assist. Thank you. I'm eager to assist as a commissioner for recreation, so thank you.
This would bring the board up to 5 members, well, 3 of which live in Castleton now. Josh would be from, and we have another member who is from Hubbardton, who's also been a very healthy contributor to our rec.
Can I ask a question, Dick?
Sure.
According to this sheet, and I may be misspoken or misinformed, but these vacant spots have been vacant for quite a while. Is that a correct statement? I'm asking the people that are on the rec that are here. You're not a rec? And there's nobody here from rec?
She's not a rec
Can I ask the
commissioner.
rest of the board members, have these been vacant for quite some
I
time?
believe that's an accurate statement.
They have been struggling to fill them.
Mary Drogy's on, she's on the Rec Commission, she's online.
Can you speak to that, Mary Drogy, please?
Yes, that is correct, Bob.
So I would welcome you, Josh, to applying for the Recreation Commission. We're obviously struggling to get the members on there, so I appreciate you.
I also know that Rec Director John Alexander, he put forward a recommendation to the Rec Commission to create a position for a university representative. I don't know where that's at in a process of review, but
We've talked about it.
I think that's also an important sort of way to include more ideas on the commission.
Yeah.
And
This board has already discussed that, and one of the things that Mark and I have to do is we have to include language in the first paragraph of the charter to include the up to two non-voting student members. We're not going to specify university or high school that way. That gives and they will be appointed by the Rec Commission. So the Rec Commission, the Rec Commissioners, if they have a student either from the high school or from the college, the university, that they feel can contribute, they are welcome to bring them on the board, but they will not be voting members.
I think that's great.
I don't know exactly how we're going to write all that, Mark, but that's the plan.
That's the crux of it. So those student members would not have to come before this board. The Recreation Board would make those decisions independently.
So if they have a fine young person that's willing to step up and help out, they can accept the help, is what it really boils down to.
Yep.
I have a statement if that's possible.
By all means, Mary.
Yeah, I just feel like for perspective, it's important to understand, and I think everybody here knows it, but just to remind everybody that the Rec Commission has been undertaking a big transition, and it's been hard to recruit for the commission when we didn't know what the commission was going to be doing. And now that the bylaws have been finalized, which just happened in December, I think we will be much more successful, and I've been talking to people. Martha's talking to people. I think we can find people who are interested in planning and policy. But given that the past, as you all know, the commission kind of did everything, ran youth sports. We often had a full board of parents whose kids were involved in youth sports and were coaches. So yes, we have had not a full board for a couple of years, but I think that really is because of this big transition that we're all in support of, because we all wanted to professionalize the Rec Commission and have a paid director. But just to be fair, I think that's an important perspective to remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
I just want, sorry, I'm Frank Johnson.
Frank, can you come up to the podium? That way the Zoom mic can pick you up.
I just wanted to say something on behalf of Josh. I know him as an instructor at sailing camp, because I do that also. He brings great energy to the position. I think if he brings that kind of energy into the Rec Commission, he would be a real asset.
I can agree with the energy part. I've seen him.
Thanks, Frank.
Any more discussion on the nomination for Josh Ferguson to the Rec Commission?
What slot is he taking?
Well, that's the other thing. We have to decide when his term expires, Mark. We didn't do that in our motion. So you either...
3 years from today?
No, you get to pick a June 30th date. That way we get in the rotation.
June 30th.
Of which year? You can either be slightly over 3 years or slightly over 2.
Slightly over 3.
So, 3 years would be 2029, right? No, 2028. So can you amend your motion for his term to expire on June 30th, 2028?
I would like to make a motion that we appoint Joshua Ferguson to the Recreation Commission for a term of 3 years, expiring on June 30th, 2028.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? Your aye? Okay. Motion carries 5-0.
This is gonna go somewhere else.
Where's my agenda? I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Room rates for the rec center. We have in our packet a form that is a 2025 reservation form. Do we have to actually approve this, or what, or do we want to just discuss what's your?
I would ask that the board discuss this, hopefully ask for some examples of what other towns are charging, because I do have some. I don't have, I gotta get a good cross-section of like-sized towns that have rec centers, but I think some of the things that, what I've seen is these are pretty on target, and then the gym is a little off. But I like to, it's not a big thing right now. If you could wait till the next meeting to, unless you have any questions of me that I can take down and find information for you, but to bring it back before the board and the.
I think it's a good place to start. I did notice, however, an error on the backside. We have gym listed twice. That's an easy fix.
I do have one question. For your home ec room, how many people, say someone wanted a birthday party in the home ec room, how many people could they put in there?
No, it's one of the, John and I discussed having the fire marshal's office come in to look at room capacities, because we don't have that, because we asked the high school, and you don't want their answer.
As many as you can squeeze in there.
There's about 17 people that show up for Friends of Rec, and that seems quite comfortable.
I saw the
the shower in there this weekend, and they didn't look packed, but there was a lot more than 17.
Any idea how many?
I didn't stop and peer in the
Shame on
window. I
you.
just was walking by and I just thought.
I'd rather have the
wow,
fire
that's the size of
marshal.
the shower.
I was just
We did
curious.
we did it for these buildings, and we were shocked on how little, there's 7 people can be in the conference room over next door, when it's full of stuff, all the tables and stuff in there, so.
Yeah, I
We
would
should
say-
leave that alone.
It's, I know, but if we get, if we have a violation, that's even worse.
Have them come in, have them come in.
I just wasn't sure if that was enough.
Have them come in so we're not breaking the rules.
If we had a big event, you could always open that divider between there and the science
Where's the
lab,
divider there? We could open it.
and you make it a huge room.
I think these rates are pretty darn accurate.
If anything, they might be a little low, but I think it's a
Well-
fine place to start.
I thought that at first, but, you know, there's other rec centers where the gymnasium is actually cheaper than ours.
Yeah.
But that might be in communities where it gets used a lot. And you can say, geez, you know, we've got somebody using this 2 hours every morning, every afternoon. We could lower the price and still generate a lot of revenue. You know, so we're caught in there where we need to show the taxpayer some revenue coming out of that building, and we want to make it as affordable as possible. I guess the only thing that I would like to apply to this would be if you're not a Castleton resident, it would be 25% more.
I agree on that.
You know, because we've already funded this building from our taxes. And I don't think that, you know, if Rob wants to have a birthday party for his daughter, it should not be the same price as if someone from Pulteney wants to rent it for their birthday party. He's already paid.
It's hard to argue with, Mark.
Yeah.
That's the only part that I would like to see changed.
That's something you can explore, right?
And I think there should be exemptions in certain cases, like if Castleton Cares wanted to use that kitchen to cook meals for shut-ins, I don't think that we should be charging them, but I don't want to get too far off in the weeds tonight.
John and I talked about that too, because there was stuff in there that was like it says for the day, but it doesn't define the day. So if it's, a day is 4 or 5 hours, and you can still have the place open to rent it, you know, beyond that or before it, then it limits us by saying the day, and then you have to clarify what's a day.
12:01 to 11:59.
Well, every rule has an exception, and I think this is a really good place, and hopefully with time, John would learn where to smear that a little bit one way or the other.
You always have to inject common sense into anything. So we don't want to take any action on this right now, Mike?
We're kind of going by this right now, so I'd ask that to bring it back to the next meeting, we'll have a little more
Now, do
information.
you have examples you were going to share with us?
No, that's what I'm saying, I don't have them with me, but
Okay.
we looked at Middlebury, that was one of the ones that we looked at, and John had a conversation with the lady from Brattleboro. So they talked some stuff to you, so it just, to be able to get a good cross-section of like-sized towns and with rec departments, we want to be fair and not just look at 2.
Does Brandon have a rec department? So that's the closest to us. Rutland Town is too.
And then there's always a caveat, like someone wants to rent the gym for an hour, but they want the home ec room for 2 hours for their birthday party. You know, so is a discount involved there?
I always say it's like
You know-
officer's discretion.
That's why, yeah, I think that there has to be some discretion. If this is a group that's coming in here doing a real estate course and they're making money, then I would think, no, these are the rates. If it was, again, I'm just going to use Castleton Cares, if they decide to have a holiday meal there and they want to use the kitchen for 4 hours to cook food, and then they want to use the library for 1 hour to serve it, I would think that we would want to have a different rate structure than someone that's a commercial enterprise. You know, an organization that is clearly benefiting the taxpayers of Castleton, maybe we would not charge or charge less.
Once again, we leave that discretionary authority to the town manager and his delegate.
Yeah, I think this is a good framework to start with. And knowing that all rules are meant to be changed for the right reasons.
I think we can trust our town manager and his delegate to inject some common sense into this.
Right, right. If there's a disabled veterans group that comes in,
Or,
what are you gonna say? This is how much it is.
or.
You know, you go, no.
Regional wants to do some.
You're
first
welcome
aid
to use
training, Or something, you know, that, I mean, they use this room a lot of times, but, well, that's another option. If they wanted to use a classroom to do CPR, then I would really have a hard time charging for that.
Right, benefits the community.
Okay, so can we move on from this, Mike? Are you satisfied?
I'm satisfied, thank you.
I'd like to have a discussion at some point on that, though, on how much revenue we actually think that building should be
That's
producing,
something we have to discuss.
so.
And I think that we're going to be doing that sometime, maybe next meeting this month. We'll have to be prepared to do that.
Mr. Chairman, did you guys get that in your packet,
This,
yes.
so did everyone get a revenue report from Recreation cash receipts?
I did.
So this is everything, it's not just the village school. So it's hard to break out what's pertinent or unique to the village school out of this.
Yeah, the right side is the beach, and the left side has a little mixture of like sailing camps in there, and that's not really part of the
Yeah,
building.
so it's not specific to the school. So that's something that we still are trying to get to. I don't know if we can get to that.
I'll just make a different column at the bottom. that
Yeah,
just
do
breaks out.
that, do that, break that out, the village school separately. Now, we know it's nowhere near what's the operating cost now, 70-ish?
74.
You know, we're not generating revenue anywhere near $70,000 yet, but the board, we need to have a discussion, Rob, you're correct, on what we think a reasonable goal is in the short term and in the long term. And how we think we're gonna get there, how we're gonna enable the rec department and the rec commission to get to that point. And I don't know if that's that discussion premature, or are you prepared to discuss it now?
I'd like to see what the numbers of where we're at now.
That's the same here.
I think the numbers, we know the numbers are gonna be weak now, because this has been a work in progress, you know? Building the airplane while you're flying it. It's a lot of different pieces that don't always fit together well, but I think they will. You know, I think by the end of this year, December 2025 is gonna look a lot different than December last year.
I think you're
And-
right. I think we've finally gotten to the point where we're going down the runway and we can actually tilt the aircraft to start flying, but.
There's
we're
a
not
lot
there
of,
yet.
a lot of people using the building. We have to get squared away on what everybody pays. I think we had loosely discussed that for this year, we should see $1,000 a week in revenue from that building.
That's the number that's in my head.
And I think that we should make sure that the rec director, the rec commission, Friends of Rec, everybody knows, hey, this is where we need to get. So we're not hitting you with a whip. We're saying this needs to be the direction that we're moving in together. And I think that we could land in that space by the end of the year. And things will be more organized at that point than they are. They'll be working together more harmoniously. And then we can start planning for 2026. I mean, that's part of the work that the Recreation Commission is charged with doing, long-term planning. And I think we're moving in that direction.
Okay, Mary,
Mary McIntyre.
can you walk up to the podium just so the mic can pick you up properly?
On the form, no, don't have it to look at, is Friends of Rec listed on there? Because I know Selectman Spalding has mentioned before about Friends of Rec paying and coming up with money. And I just need to remind folks that we're there to raise money, to give to the rec. So every time we're in there, we can't come up with money when we're trying to plan and trying to work to raise money. And we have some big events that we're working on this year, so all the monies, I know Bob's question about us having money in our account. It may be in our account, but it's always going to go to rec eventually. You know, that's the thing. So whatever might be written on that form, if we just,
Yeah, there's nothing from Friends of Rec on there.
Just room rates. Just a framework to start.
perfect, thank you.
Anything else on rec before we move on? Anybody on Zoom that wants to add anything, Mike?
Anybody on Zoom want to add something to this conversation?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to annual certification for town roads and bridge standards. This is either you or the highway foreman. Is he on tonight?
He's on. He didn't work on this one, I don't believe. I know I worked on it. He's got other things he worked on. but-
Why don't you speak to this then, Mike?
So this is the annual road and bridge standards. Basically, what this says is the town adopts the V-Trans Orange Book standards for roads, bridges, culverts, guardrails. It's the town, since I've been here since 2018, and this is exactly, well, one year we didn't have guardrails in there, and there's really no explanation of why. Because it's just a standard, it's a kind of a,
But they had been previously?
no, because when this came out in 2019. So when the first year we had guardrails not on there, and that was my fault. I mean, I'm pointing the finger at me. I'm like, why guardrails? We wouldn't put those into some kind of or in place them in some kind of standard, so. So this also bleeds over to the municipal roads general permit, which the town uses. We say we're bringing those 100-meter road segments into compliance, and this also drives the money that we get through the Better Roads and the grants and aid grants. So if we said, no, we're not gonna do it, it'd probably get about a $33,000 reduction at least minimum in grants that we get each year, so.
This is just the same thing we've been doing.
It's been exactly the same as you've been doing. And, you have to, do the yearly adoption. There's a date in there up top of the form, but I put everything behind it so you could look at those specifications, whether it was catch basins or check dams or whatever it is. And then there's the last sheet of this. Let me see how it's listed on this thing. That's the certificate of compliance, the last page. It says town road and bridge standards and network inventory. As a FYI, the town applied, and looks like we received a Class A grant for re-inventorying all 100-meter road segments in town. We did that in 17, 18, and it's back it's time to redo it. So we'll have a grant, and we have to pick a company to help us. And Rutland Regional Planning Commission typically is what most towns use. They're very versed and skilled in this. And then we'll have another reassessment. And so this bleeds into that too. And that's also drives the grants, because everything that they give us for money on the grants and aid and the Better Roads grants are to bring non-compliant road segments up to compliance. So signing this would be kind of shooting ourselves in the foot as far as keeping our.
Not signing it.
But yeah, by not signing it, would be shooting ourselves in the foot.
So what do you need a motion on? Do you need a motion on this, or a motion on this one, Mike?
You're gonna make a motion
On this certification of compliance?
to accept or comply with the town road and bridge standards and network inventory.
I'd make a motion that we sign the annual certificate of compliance for town road and bridge standards.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the certificate of compliance.
And the date of the date of adoption would be today.
It's on there.
Yeah, I mean, on the front of this one here.
We've got two different papers that
Yep.
need signatures.
We're gonna have to sign both of these.
Yep, sign both of them.
Oh, sign both, okay. So we gotta fill in the date of adoption on this one, okay.
Well,
You did already.
I did on the back page, not on this page.
On the one we're gonna sign.
So I've lost track. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
There's the first one, Michael.
Certificate of highway mileage. We can discuss that while we're setting that one document around. Mike, do you or Jeff want to speak to that?
I think Jeff worked on this, so I'll let him if he's available. Jeff, we're talking about the certificate of highway mileage.
Yep, sure thing. Questions?
Well, just so you know, Jeff, I gave him a copy of the 2022 map. And I'll draw to their attention that what's on the certificate of highway mileage, the 76.715 miles, also matches on this form the total miles of road we have. So we're in agreement with what the state's saying, basically.
So it's in regards to having them update newly paved roads that are no longer soil, if they're changed to gravel.
Yeah, that'll annotate that, Jeff. But at least we know the mileage of what we're asking the select board to sign agrees with what the state says we have for miles of roads. But on this little map, which is an eye chart, what we did find is there's roads that are listed as still gravel that have been paved. So Jeff's working to make sure that gets updated. I think you're meeting with Brian Sanderson on Wednesday, correct? Jeff?
That was a question, Jeff.
Yeah, somehow we just lost Zoom. Oh, it's coming back. Yeah, so all those that got paved are still listed as gravel on here.
So would it be premature to sign this?
Oh, no.
Oh, because this doesn't state here.
Yeah, that doesn't affect the number of miles of road. That doesn't tell you that, it says, it doesn't change the classification, whether they're paved or gravel. So it's, your son, you'd be agreeing that the total number of miles for class 1, 2, 3 and state highway, all total 76.715 miles. And we're still not connected to Zoom.
And that's the same as it was the previous year.
Correct. We're just trying to get the map updated to show what we have for gravel and what we have for paved roads. Didn't change the number of miles, it just changed the surface type.
Is that the correct date on the top of that, Mike, is what you want? It says February 10th, 2025. Is that the date you want to go with?
Oops. Sorry, I gotta look at it up. Year ending. Yeah, because this normally gets done a month earlier. We're just a month late doing it, so I just leave it at that.
Okay,
It didn't change since February,
okay.
but we're,
It doesn't change, you already said it, but I'll ask you again. It doesn't change it if it goes from gravel to pavement. It doesn't change the classification at all. It doesn't go from 2 to 1 or 3 to 2.
correct. Because the classification has to do with how what they're connected for arteries.
Oh, okay.
Like North Road.
Yep.
Is a class 2 Blissville, because it connects Route 4A, or Route 30 connects, or North Road connects Route 30 and Route 4A, so they're considered major arteries.
Okay,
The little roads are not.
okay.
And
So our state funding is the same either way also.
the only thing that the gravel does is when we apply for the class 2 paving grant, that grant can only be used on class 2 roads. So East Hubbardton, South Street, North Road, Blissville Road. But I'm still not connected to the host here, so I gotta try to get reconnected with Zoom.
Well, we can move on.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve this, or
We need a motion to approve this.
I would make a motion to approve the certificate of highway mileage for the year ending February 10th, 2025.
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve the certificate of highway mileage. Any more discussion?
Do we need to have the total number of miles on that motion?
No, because you're gonna sign the form, so it's on there.
Okay, okay, okay.
But this was, I'm sorry, it was, who was it Mark, then Rob?
Other way.
Then Mark.
Cause I'm trying to get Zoom going again.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the town clerk will sign and date this on the bottom.
Okay, yep,
Down there.
okay.
That actually gets filed by the town clerk. Probably tradition more than anything else. So we're gonna send this around before we move on the agenda and talk about the UDR. I don't want any distractions. We're actually slightly ahead of schedule right now. Doesn't mean we'll stay that way.
I'm gonna try to hold you to it, Mr. Coombs. Oh, is it coming back? You wanna go the other way?
It's going the other way.
Okay.
Need two more.
Mike and I decided we're gonna make them into paper airplanes and throw them.
That would be good.
And that's gonna shorten the meeting down for you.
Perfect.
4.3 microseconds.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're,
Since we're
Oh,
waiting,
it's
do you know
signed.
how long it takes
Oh,
for
it's
light
signed.
travel? 9 inches?
Well, it goes 186,000 miles a second.
Yep.
So, no, I can't do that in my head.
I never did either. I do know that it travels 9 inches in 4.75 nanoseconds. But I'll tell you why later, offline. Okay, let's move on. Planning Commission would love to present a new UDR to the Select Board.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Frank Johnson, the chair of the Planning Commission, and with me tonight, just so you know, the members of the team, Mike Skovner, Liz McKay, and then Karen Oakman, who is our zoning administrator. The UDR, Unified Development Regulations, is replacing the zoning regulations. It's a document we've been working on for years. It also is combining the subdivision regulations and the flood area regulations, so it's bringing in more than just replacing the old document. I apologize, we had a bit of a hiccup in getting this presented to you, which we were expecting to have done almost 2 months ago. There are a number of state laws, steps that we need to follow to be totally in compliant with the state to get this document to this stage. And we were a bit disappointed for a while with the lack of guidance that we were getting from the Rutland County Area Planning Commission, which is much better now, by the way. But still, it's our responsibility to know the law, and we just missed a couple of steps by not quite getting it done within, the number of days in advance. I won't give you much detail on it. So we lost some time, and the only expense that was doubled up to the town was we put in an ad in the Rutland Herald for the second time. So it wasn't terrible, but I wish I had been here 2 months ago. The document is a red line version, okay? The red line version shows you all of the changes being made from the original. And in all of the time that we've been working on this document, we've had a number of different versions come through. We've always been working off of a red line copy. And that is what we're presenting to you also. When it is finally finished, after you all will have a public hearing on this, then it is the time to create what we might call the all-black copy, or if you're a user of Microsoft Word, you click on, all accepted, all changes accepted. That is a complicated process, which is why we don't do it regularly, because in doing that, all of the page numbers and section number references will have to be manually fixed. I don't know if I can explain it properly, but it's a big process. So we're asking and expecting actually that through, we've gotten so far in this process, and now the final process is in your hands, is to work off of the red line copy. It shows exactly what's been being changed from the original, so I find it much easier to work off of, and we've been working off of it, as I said, for years. So there you have it. We are confident that we are totally in compliance with all the steps that needed to be taken to get to the point where we are now putting it in your good hands.
We still have to go through a public hearing process ourselves, correct?
Yes, correct.
I do not recall what those steps are, but I know at one time.
I think.
Thank you, Karen.
Karen may have a copy of the.
He's on it.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you, Karen.
So, just to reiterate what Frank said,
Yeah.
we did the first stage, which is the planning commissioning
Well,
stage,
these are,
by date and the right approval, including our public hearing. And we have done that actually almost 3 times by now, but
Your public hearing's all done.
our public
Yes, we're
hearing
done.
is all done. And this copy has any changes that the board agreed to after that public hearing. So we're done. The board, planning commission and board is done. So now it's in your hands to follow the next steps to make the last stage happen so that we can make this indeed the final document for the town of Castleton.
Now, if we make some changes, do we have to go back through the planning commission hearing process, or is it just at the select board level?
I believe if you follow those directions, is to the select board level, and we would have to update the document, the planning commission will have to update the document based on your request.
But you wouldn't have to go through the hearing process again?
No.
That was,
I think it says though, if it's substantive
substantial.
changes, then it has to go back to the planning
That goes
commission.
back to us. Yeah, if it's just a grammatical thing or a formatting thing, then that's not a.
a change of little or no consequence?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Can I ask you what changes have been made since it was sent back to you?
Yes, actually, it was really just one edit, and that was the document makes a reference to all the maps as being appended to the document, but it's really not a part of the document because it's impossible to print the UDR with the maps that will show up in a legible way. So the maps are really separate. So what we've done is put language in there saying the maps are available, the maps that are referenced in this document are available at the town office or online.
Well, additional to that,
Sorry.
since the day that that the board received all the comments last time that was in your hands, the planning commission has reviewed all those comments. Every single one of your pages of comments have been addressed, whether
Right.
they're grammatical or not. There was one that I was not agreeable to, but it's a minor thing. If I remember correctly, it was you wanted us to say that what was it? Something about, permit. We said zoning permit, and somebody wanted the word zone to be removed, and I disagreed with that because there are more than one type of permit processed in the town. So zoning, even when the permit is provided, we have to write down zoning permit too. So I wanted to stay within the legalities of Vermont law. So, but other than that, we're pretty much sure that we have gone through all those pages of comments of all of the board members that were involved.
Thank you.
I was just referring to actually what came about from the public hearing. So thank you, Karen, for commenting. And so we are not getting away with the word zoning, even though we call this the UDR. And Karen was very quick to point that out, to leave that in the document.
All the red lines are black.
Sorry?
My red lines are black,
They are.
yeah.
This is this is a black and white copy, it's not a color
It's
copy.
fixed.
It's not. Oh.
I just looked at it. It's all
Red
right.
line, okay, so then we need,
The black line.
we'll need to get that to you.
Is that what you're gonna ask that?
No, it's good.
It's
I
good?
just saw it.
Okay, you got it the way you want, okay.
Yeah.
We were talking about the trailers in the dooryard.
Yeah, that change has been made.
Okay. That was a big thing on the board.
Was there a question about fence setbacks that we had discussed?
That wasn't, we had discussed that, and I noticed when I looked at this the other day that it hasn't been changed. You've still got a 3-foot setback on
That was what the
fences.
planning commission wanted, and highly recommend for the proper maintenance of the fencing for the person who puts it up. So it's only, you give it 3 feet from the boundary to where the fence is installed so that you can properly maintain it.
I only partially agree with that. The issue I would have is if two landowners are mutually agreeable on where the fence could be, they could put it right on the boundary. And, or if, it's a farmer and they're putting a fence around their field, they don't want to lose 3 feet of, 3 feet around a 40-acre field is a pretty big circumference to lose.
They would only need to follow the 3-foot fencing requirement when it's within adjacent other owner, farmer owner, not within their property. So if they do fencing within their acreage, it doesn't matter. You're not losing that.
I understand
But
that.
they still need to maintain the other side of the fence, and that requires some kind of a vehicle and supplies to go to that side to fix those fences. You couldn't do it from the inside.
I don't understand. I'm a farmer.
Well,
I have a fence that's, right now, it's not a fence, but it's dividing my land with the town land.
mhm,
You're saying I have to be 3 foot in?
mhm.
A farmer has to lose that much hay over a period of time?
Well,
That's our income, that's our living.
what I'm saying is, when that fence needs to be repaired, you would have to get access from your neighbor to be able to repair that fence.
I can't repair it on my own side?
It depends what what the work requires, and it depends how you're using the space.
Well, if it's a
example,
barbed wire fence, you can do it from one side.
Sure.
If it was a homeowner's 6-foot decorative fence, to paint it, you would have to go to the other side.
Well, I'm saying it makes a difference.
Right, you're absolutely
You can't
correct.
take that much income away from a farmer. You have any idea what 3 foot all around 180 some odd acres is? How much money that is to a farmer?
I understand that.
You've all but kicked the farmers out of Castleton already. There's 3 of us left. And now you're gonna take that away from us too?
Do you really think that you can fix a fence only from one side?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
The other side?
Absolutely.
It's up to the planning commission. It's not my say.
Right, we should take that into consideration.
Particularly if you have 2 consenting landowners.
For the time being, you don't know the future.
That's the problem with that, Dick, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had an issue with that language when it was first proposed, and I provided feedback, and it's still there, so I'm
And I
still.
know that we discussed that with the planning commission
did.
in detail
We did.
multiple times,
Yep.
and the planning commission felt strong about it, so.
Yeah, I'm a big
That's
no.
why it's still there. But it was reviewed, discussed, and voted on with the planning commission.
And it will be done here as well.
Yeah.
The only other thing, back, probably 30 years ago, my husband was a fence viewer. And a fence is half my problem and half his problem. And they would have to say who had to fix it, or if you each had to fix a portion of it. Is that taken care of in there?
Whether you share the cost, depending on what it is, no, it is not.
Shouldn't that be in there as well?
It can be added.
again, this is back to you for not only for your comments and also for our public hearing. So this is what the planning commission worked on and voted on to bring back to you. If you disagree with something, you can give your comments, that's fine. That's what the planning commission is intended to do. I don't vote with the planning commission, I only represent the town to the planning commission.
I realize that.
So, you want that change to be done, you can submit it, not a problem.
So I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to accept this for review and discussion.
Right.
And then we're going to have to review and discuss it, and then provide feedback to the planning commission and either proceed or not. Right?
And this takes days.
Yes, it's not a fast process.
Day thing.
May I ask
It's
what,
It's taking a long time to get where we are. It's,
when
sorry,
you
go
say
ahead.
proceed or not, what does that mean? Are we trying to go to a public hearing?
I can't answer that until we look at it.
Okay,
I can't give you a straight answer on that right now. We're going to review it and discuss it, and then we're going to provide feedback. Whether we reject it back to you or accept it and proceed is something that we have to decide as a board. And we can't make that decision tonight.
no, we're not asking for that.
So Frank, we're gonna have to dig in.
Fine. And Mary Lee, I totally agree with your earlier comment about we could use more people on our planning commission. We're down to 3. So, all right.
It's not
There's-
fair to you, but
There's many, the fire department, the first responders, planning, rec, everyone
Yeah.
could use more help.
We need more people to step up.
We do.
Okay,
So-
well, thank you. It's in your good hands. If there's no further questions, right?
No question, I have no questions. Anyone else have questions for the planning commission?
Roy?
Go ahead, Roy.
Roy Newton, the question I have, I know you may have reviewed the whole draft, that tiny houses are part of this planning document.
Tiny houses are, do you want me to answer that?
Well, that would fall under the accessory dwelling unit.
Correct.
So, yes.
You gotta come to the,
Yep.
You gotta come up to the,
Yeah.
The tiny houses fall under the description, the category of accessory dwelling unit. Those are addressed in there.
accessory dwelling unit.
Thank you.
In Old Vermont law, it says fences must be set back from the property line to allow for maintenance without encroaching on the neighbor's property. So, for your fence, you don't need to encroach. For a 6-foot decorative fence, you'd need 3 or 4 feet so you could get around there and paint it. A sufficient fence is defined as 4.5 feet tall, in good repair, and able to prevent sheep escape.
not having sheep.
That down on School Street.
Yeah.
I know a fence that stops a cow won't stop a sheep or a hog. They're a lot better at getting through a fence.
You can't keep a hog in. Been there, done that.
Yeah, it is, my uncle was a hog farmer, it was difficult.
Thinking the same
Keep
thing,
them
not
in.
about you, about me. Give
Up
you a
on the
break.
hill, which is Katie's house now, it wasn't at the time, our pigs got out and plowed her lawn for her.
Mike, I would like you to make 5 copies of this and provide each one to the select board, or a copy to each member of the select board, so that we all have the same information.
And then when are we going to review this again?
Well, we're gonna discuss that under action items as to
Okay.
when we're gonna get back to it. Yeah, we got like 7 items now. Okay, we're gonna move on. Next item on the agenda is liquor control approvals. Would you do the honors, Rob?
Sure.
So you're aware, we're still not, there's no internet connection right now, so that's why we're down.
So if we need to slow down so you can take notes, let us know.
I will.
All set, Dick?
Go for it, Rob.
I would make a motion to approve a first-class restaurant bar license, third-class restaurant bar license, outside consumption permit for Lake Bomoseen Hospitality LLC, doing business as Lake House Pub and Grill.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm gonna recuse myself on this one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 yes, 1 recusal.
Got it, thank you.
I would make a motion to approve a second-class, I'm assuming it's a liquor license,
Beer and wine.
Second class with a tobacco endorsement.
make a motion to approve a second-class license with a tobacco license for PFB Incorporated, doing business as Pruners Market.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm gonna recuse myself. I have said before, I don't have legal grounds to vote against it, but I'm not gonna vote for a tobacco license anywhere.
Understood. All in favor?
Aye.
We have 4 yeas and 1 recusal. Different recusal this time. You got it, Mike?
You got it?
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve a second-class license and a tobacco license for Dollar General Retail LLC.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mark recused himself on that one, because
You recusing yourself on that one as
I
well, Mark?
am, yep.
You have to say that.
I'm sorry. I recuse.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Rutland County Solid Waste District appointments. Are you ready for this, Rob, or Bob? What's your name, Bob?
I guess so. You mean, do I accept it as
Yes.
a rep? Yes, I do. I didn't know what you were gonna do to me.
Anyone who's willing to step up to be an alternate?
Please, somebody.
What does it involve?
You going to the meeting when I can't go to the meeting.
Yeah, and holler like that, like you might.
What was that now?
Holler like you might?
That would be nice, yes. But you don't have to, it's not required.
Oh, okay. How about you, Rob?
I'd rather not. I have enough other things on my plate right now.
I'm certainly not interested.
You, Mr. Jones?
I can't?
You can't?
Yeah, I could fill in for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you are really in a bind, I could help you out, but I really don't want to commit to it.
Okay, so you can't be appointed. You really shouldn't be appointed.
Keep looking at me.
Well, you haven't said yes, you would, or yes, you
You
wouldn't.
were the first one to speak, so I nominate Mary Lee.
Second?
I don't think so. I don't know what I'd be doing. I don't understand it.
Just like you're doing tonight.
Would you rather have the town manager be the alternate?
Yes.
Of course.
And then if, Mike, if you can't do it, when Rob, or Bob's gonna, I don't know why I keep calling, her name is Robert.
You can call me whatever, yeah, don't matter.
I won't call you bad things. Anyways, between Mike and I, we can make sure you get taken care of if you can't make the meeting, but you gotta get us up to speed and brief us on what it is we need to know, because
Yeah, you'll learn.
there's
at
some
the
things
first
we need
meeting.
to know.
Yeah, that's fine. Do we want to?
I attended a couple meetings and I couldn't learn anything about it. It's just chaos. Nobody has any
Put me in
answers.
that?
Well, I thought you'd be good as anybody.
They haven't audited their account for what, 3 years?
I'm not sure I have the patience for that.
I don't have the patience for it.
Well,
I wish that I could, because something needs to happen there, but the whole meeting, I felt like I was being spun around in a circle.
You don't want to share that again with me?
I don't.
Well, I would entertain a motion to appoint Robert Spalding as our,
I mean, we could always draw straws, I
town's
guess.
representative to the Board of Supervisors of the Rutland County Solid Waste District.
I'd rather see that.
So move.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to appoint Robert Spalding to the Rutland County Solid Waste District. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Bob.
now, do we want to officially appoint, do we need to officially appoint an alternate?
I would like the board to, yes.
Are you willing to put your name in here, Mike?
Because they're killing me. I don't want us to not be part of it, so I'll agree.
And I'll try to help you out if I can.
I would make a motion to appoint Mike Jones, the alternate for the Rutland County Solid Waste District.
Am I allowed to second that?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so since I was not listening for the first part, who made the motion and seconded to make Bob?
Mary Lee.
Both of them? Who made the motion?
Mary Lee did and Bob seconded it.
Mary Lee and Bob?
That's
You
Rob.
voted on yourself, okay.
I did not. Yeah, Rob seconded it.
the first one, no, it was Mary Lee and Rob.
Right. Those are one-year terms?
Yes, I believe.
Yes.
March to March.
What are you doing Wednesday night?
This Wednesday night?
Yes, 2 nights from now.
I don't know, I gotta look at my calendar.
I'm gonna let you fill in the mailing address and phone number and all that, Mike.
Maybe we should advertise that position in the future, you know, to see if there's someone in the community that would be interested in taking that up. I
Well,
know
we
Mike
could-
has a lot on his plate already.
We could always rescind his appointment and appoint someone else at any time. There's no reason why we couldn't do that, so I think your
Let's
suggestion
throw
is a
something
good
up
one.
on Front Porch
I
Forum.
gotta advertise those other positions,
Yeah.
I'll just throw that up there too and see if we get any takers on it.
I'm sure somebody's gonna jump right on it.
Oh, you know they are.
Not you, though.
Don't be scared, come on.
So only I have to sign this one, right?
We don't need to be in the Rutland Herald for me getting kicked out of the meeting, the first meeting.
That's coming. That's coming with me. Trust me.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Alternate for the Otter Creek Communication District rep, that would be Tim Munks has agreed to accept the position.
I would make a motion that we appoint Tim Munks as the alternate to the Otter Creek Communications District.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'll leave it to you to fill the email in. I certainly don't know it. Oops. Run away, run away. Okay, that file's done. Private road maintenance. That's still a work in process. I spoke to a former member of the highway crew who was quite knowledgeable in local history. He did share a couple of things about Cedar Mountain Road that we're going to do some more research on. And it looks like we may have resolution on that soon, Mike, but I think it might be premature to get too much into weeds on what that resolution might be.
Correct.
The other roads, we gotta get into why we're still plowing Higgins Road. I've been assured that there's no reason, there's no handicapped child down there that needs a school bus. So I'm not sure if that's, we have to confirm or deny that and then move on from there. And if we can stop plowing someone's driveway, which may be what we're doing, I won't wanna say categorically that's fact, but that's
What it appears to be.
what it appears to be. We need to verify that, then we'll give them notice that next year, we are not gonna plow that driveway. And then there's, 2 other roads that I was made aware of, a third and a fourth one, or fourth and fifth one. We know about Gump Road already. We have to resolve that, whether we actually have an easement to access the manhole down there or not. And if we do, that's one thing, and if we do not, then we have to reach an agreement with them, the owners of the road, to remove the snow or not. So that has to be resolved, and we know what the issue there is, so we have to find out if we have an easement to
Yeah,
access
Jeff
that
started
manhole.
today. He started with Cedar Mountain, but he's gonna look at deeds and stuff for all those roads.
And
Jeff
why we're-
Davidson is?
He did this stuff today.
I was made aware today that we actually plow part of Beam Road, which may or may not be a town road.
Part of which one?
Beam,
On South Street.
next to Meadow Lane on South Street.
Lord Apartments, you know, when the Lord Apartments are.
It's next door to that one here.
And I don't know if we actually do, how much of that we plow.
Right to the end, the guy's house at the end, we push it off onto onto his lawn.
And I don't, once again, if that's a town road, well, that's one thing. If it's not a town road, that's a whole different animal, and we have to decide why we're doing that, and maybe it just be because we're nice guys or something, I don't know. And the fourth one, I've been told by a former employee that Parker Road in its entirety is a town road.
Where is that, Dick?
That's off, is that off Piontek?
At the top of Piontek.
Parker Road.
That's where we had that structure fire with the snake farm years
Oh,
ago,
yeah, I know where the snake farm is.
right there,
Dead ends
yes.
at the snowmobile trail.
But Heath, I'll say it was Heath who I talked to, and he was pretty confident that that was a town road. And he was the one
Really?
that did the inventory in 2019 on town roads, so I'm going to not necessarily say that he's right, but I tend to believe him, so
The state lists it as town road.
we'll have to
Is
verify
it on
that.
our thing tonight? It does?
It's on that, it's one of the town highways at the town, it's included in all that.
But it's 2/10 of a mile?
Parker Road.
Yeah, it's,
Never heard of it, but
1/10 is gravel, and then the last part of it's 0.3 miles, that's all the way to the house out there is so it's, what did I say, 0.4 miles total. But the gravel section's only 0.1.
Sounds about right, I've only been down there a couple times.
Is there other houses or just one house?
I believe it's only one.
I think it's seasonal, isn't it?
The one we went
Dick
to
Hall
for a
bought
structure
that.
fire was a year-round dwelling at the time, doesn't mean it
We
still
plowed it,
is.
so.
The house that had the snakes.
Yes.
But that's right in the corner.
No, you have to drive down Parker Road 100 yards at least.
And then the driveway's on the left.
Correct.
But there's a camp further on that has been improved substantially over the years. I don't know if it's year-round or not. Dick Hall bought that property right at the end of the town road and had built a hunting camp there and had, I think, intended on building a retirement house there, and that never happened, but.
Well, I know that Heath told me today that they plow down to the tube, the culvert, and turn around there, and that's all town road. And since,
Where that is.
I don't know either, I didn't drive down there, but I do know that Heath was the one that also did the inventory of all the town roads back with somebody from regional, I forget who the lady's name was.
Stephanie.
Is that Stephanie? Yeah, and,
Yeah, it goes down a little bit and then it's gated,
Yep.
heads up
And
the hill.
Heath, so if Heath tells me that that's town road and he did the inventory, I tend to believe him, but we'll verify that. So those are the only ones I know of.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Josh.
Right.
Thanks for helping. So, I don't know if we're gonna do any resolution, or, we're not gonna resolve anything tonight. I just wanted to make sure everyone was up to speed on what the questions are.
Yep. So they're all in the works.
Yeah, Jeff is on it now. Start knocking these out one at a time. Anything to add, Mike?
I don't.
So by this time next year, we shouldn't be having this conversation.
By next winter, at least, right?
Yeah, we may have other conversations, but not this one. Managers report.
That concludes my report.
I left my
Thank
copy
you.
of your report in my truck for some reason.
I don't know if everybody had a chance to read it.
Yep.
No, okay, I was gonna make it really brief then.
Make it really brief. If we
Make
have
it
questions,
brief,
we
I'll
can always
pretend
ask.
I read it.
Yeah. So, page 2, South Street, still waiting on the Title 22 review for archaeological and historical stuff to come back, so we can get that project moving and get it put out the bid for summer. Working on easements with the attorney, because we need about a 10-foot easement to work on private property down through that 7 homes that are there. So, still ongoing. Hillary's, I'm still on page 2, and down to the salt shed one, at the very bottom of the page. Hillary did call me back today, but I was busy and I couldn't take her call. But we still have to reach out about this, mitigating the stormwater for the 3 acres of impervious surface on Staso Road, our town land, and part of that is where the salt shed's gonna go, so I really don't wanna do something and then have to,
Redo it.
yeah, once we put that damn thing down, it's down, so, that building. Just following up with them, I'm on their schedule at this point, at their mercy.
Well, she called you back, so you're not gonna throw her to the wolves, you're gonna get back a hold of her.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow, right.
Yeah, I'm just,
Yeah.
She's a tough one to get a hold of.
I mean, she's busy too. I mean, this is they're just big into grants right now and everything else, so, we're just one little fish in a big pond with them, so.
let her know this is pretty important to me. Just let her know that, and that might make a difference, it might.
Okay.
Okay.
She's all, because we have to meet up on West Crystal Haven, because the engineer, Stone Engineering, wants to meet up there to do their field work for that project up there, so, she knows it's coming. I'm on page 3 now, under grants and aid. I'm meeting with Jeff, on the 11th, which is tomorrow. But we had to move it because he came in today and said he's had to take tomorrow off, so, and I'm not gonna be in until the afternoon. So, we're gonna have to move a date to talk about the grant that we're gonna get. It's like, I can't remember the number, 26,000, I think, was to do the inventorying the 100-meter road segments, for MRGP, Municipal Roads General Permit, so that's, we'll get that rescheduled. I'm on page 4. Highway grant was finally, all the paperwork was done and submitted for reimbursement. It was like $14,000. Transfer station, Heath contacted the scale company. The decking on the scale is worn out. We had formed a hole and they had to put a plate over it so that we didn't have any tires drop through it. But Evans looked at it. He's talked to the scale company. We can do the work internally. It's just, what's it called? Diamond plate steel. Two sections have to be removable and the 2 end sections are about 2 feet and they have to be welded. But they're gonna take the decking off, make sure that all the supports are not rotted or tender, and we'll do what we need to do to fix those and then get new decking put on it. But it's not gonna be a day's worth of work, so we're gonna be out to scale. So we're gonna be doing some guesswork with, like, when Ed Balch comes in, because he's not gonna be able to run across the scale with his, he's our private hauler. But we know on an average, what he brings in, so we're gonna have to do some guessing, but shouldn't be too long.
The scale have to be recalibrated after you do all that?
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, but it's zeroing it.
Yeah.
Still on page 4, the CDL training for 2 of our employees will happen at the end of April, first week of May, through Carreras.
Jeff will be in that?
He is, Jeff and Britt.
Through Casellas, you mean?
Yeah, did I say Carreras?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, Casellas, thank you.
If you didn't want to estimate the weight, Ed can run across the scales over it, I'm sure, down to,
Earth waste.
earth waste, yeah.
Yeah, get it slip.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. On page 5, just so you're aware, I wanted to make sure the board was aware that we went through a $2.5 million upgrade, and these damn pump heads on the Allen pumps, they last like 5 to 6 months and they burn out. So we brought it to the attention of Aldrich and Elliott. They went to the company. They said, this isn't happening elsewhere. It's just with you guys. What are you guys doing? So we're not doing anything that they found was out of the ordinary or would cause some premature failing. But they asked me if they could go back to the old style pumps, which they can remove and clean and put back in. And I called Jeff Lewis and he said, yeah, you guys can do that. But it doesn't have communication with the computer system, so we're gonna have to, they just do old school and they'll just calibrate it by hand, which we did for, God, forever. So, but the pumps, just cost a lot of money if they're only lasting 5 to 6 months.
One less thing to go around.
Yeah, yeah. All the new stuff doesn't last very long. I did get, on page 5 still for sewer infrastructure, I did get the plans. I printed them out today. I am gonna have to bring it back to the Board of Sewer Commissioners, to have a discussion about how to approach, Brown's Auto Salvage on the pump station and the costs and everything. So if we could do that before next meeting. But I don't know how you wanna handle, I don't think half hour is gonna be enough if you're gonna talk about the ordinance and that. So if you wanna extend the meeting a little bit longer, or do 2 meetings.
You wanna go to 2 in the morning?
No?
Let's start our select board meeting at 8, how's that?
We might as well start at 6 and get the work all done.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
not have 2
How
meetings.
about 4
In the morning or in the afternoon?
in the afternoon? Morning might be good, but I was only
Good
thinking.
for you, yeah.
afternoon.
So 6 o'clock then, the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll start at 6 and get it done.
get both of them done.
Yep. Understood. I don't know what the cost, I'm on page 7 now, the cost with the emergency repairs they made on Route 30. I'm not sure if everybody was following that, but, they called us 2:45. I got the call on Friday that they were gonna shut the road down if we didn't do something, and then they were gonna charge us the labor and time and materials to shut the road down, and Route 30 had been closed from the golf course basically north. But by the time I got a hold of Ron Fabian, he'd already got a call and they were already on their way there. And they showed up with shovels and hot mix from, or cold mix from Wilkes, and heated it up by hand and just got it kind of patched up. They didn't have any equipment to compact it.
Why didn't we repair that sooner?
It's been ongoing, but they're saying all of a sudden it was just this.
Well, I went by Sunday, March 1st, and there was like a 6-inch gap in the asphalt, and somebody had cones up all week. So,
Our guys were gonna fix it Monday. They were gonna get the stuff from Wilkes today, Monday. But, last week, Russ was bugging me about, he's like, Mike, this is really getting bad. We gotta get somebody up there. And it's just getting our crew together was the issue, I think. It was not that we didn't know about it.
so instead we have to pay extra for after-hours work from Fabian's.
Well, they probably would have to do it anyway. I'm not sure if we would have, I'm really not sure what we were gonna do. They were gonna put hot mix down too, I guess. But it sounds like our guys. So, yes, the answer to your question, we'll end up paying more. But I can't take guys off roads, plowing and stuff like that. I don't know what was going on those days, Rob, so I can't tell you. I'm not defending him, but
Well, that's a really bad spot
yeah.
to have it the way that it was. Like, I went through on Sunday and was like, holy shit, somebody's gonna crash here. And I assumed Monday that we had taken care of it. I didn't go back up through until I saw your thing that we had to hire Fabian's to do it. Like, that's a bad area. Our guys need to be on that every day, making sure that that's all right.
Yeah, we've got to go get some cold patch over from Wilk, so we have it on hand.
And to let it go a week is unacceptable.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do it, but, if they were plowing, that probably became the priority over that. I did ask them to put the sign up when Russ told me about it. I said, do we have anything? Cause again, it was on a Friday.
I mean, it was like this, that Sunday.
Yeah.
Was the distance. And
They
it was
said
broke out past the white line and down.
Yeah.
So if 2 cars met,
This
somebody's
Sunday.
going off of it. No, the first,
A week ago.
a week
Yeah.
ago Sunday.
I called Russ about it,
Yeah.
and he said he had spoke to Highway about it. But
Yeah, he did. And we went down to the garage and Jeremy wasn't there, so it was just a bunch of follies why things didn't get coordinated, because I wanted to go to the V-Trans garage and say, have them tell us what they want done before we go do all this work, and then they say, we're gonna close the road down because this isn't acceptable. So, it just didn't happen. So, we're at where we're at now, but I don't think I'm not sure if it's gonna stay. I think according to Ron, the rains are pushing the fines out of underneath the road, and it was with the stone that was put in there from the the trench boxes, all that, with the void, so all the fines were able to go
Yeah,
down.
it's gonna keep falling in.
It's just gonna keep dropping.
Are you going to assign our highway crew to keep an eye on that?
Yeah, but they were supposed to anyway, but.
I mean, I'm reading this right here. According to the highway foreman and wastewater chief operator, they made multiple attempts to get a Vermont Trans rep from the District 3 State Highway Garage to meet and look at this area for over a week. If you make an attempt in one day and you don't hear anything, you need to go above that.
Well, they did. Russ was down there all the time.
No, you need to go above down there then if that's the case, because it needs to be taken care of in a day.
That should have been taken care of every day. It's a wonder nobody got seriously hurt there. You know, a milk truck
That's on us.
would have been down in the parking lot.
Right, understood?
I understand Rob's point. If you don't get any joy at the state local garage, you have to go up the chain of command till you do get some joy.
I'm not
That's
here to
what
argue
you're
the
saying,
out.
right,
I say yes, 3 bags full. So, well, paving, yeah, so I'm on page 8, paving. I got a second quote today for that 3.1 miles and that 0.3 sections of reclaiming, and it's higher than this one by about $40,000+. So,
All we can do is as much as we can afford.
yeah, I know. I just need to get the 3 quotes, or at least attempt to get the 3 quotes. Usually we get 3. The big 3 around here.
Yeah, usually all 3 of those companies bid our roads.
They all met out there. They've all looked at it. It's just getting the pen to paper from them now. I'm on page number 9, the South Street trestle. Jeff's working with Josh Cavahall to get the final design for the head walls and exit. I prefer not to use the custom-made metal ones, because if there is another storm there and with that volume of water that could come down through there, it's just gonna twist that stuff up. Then we're gonna be back at finding another custom-made thing like stone, wash it away, we'll put some more back. So that's ongoing. Page 10, grader, so they got some quotes there. It's through Pete's Tire Barn. That's the state bid price. So unless you want me to get other bids, they are the state contract, and our policy's been if it's state contract that we can use it as a sole source, and they've been typically the least amount anyway. But we're talking, I think it was like $600 per tire or to like $1,200 per tire. There was a choice, and I said, go with the $600 tire, and it's supposed to be replaced in 6 years. Said, so if we have to replace them twice, which I doubt we will, but it's still the same amount, you know, but there'll be 3 years from now, we'll have newer ones back on it, so. But those things have been on there for a while. I don't see it with them wearing off in 3 years. I don't know, I started a truck thing and I don't know what my thought went with that one. All the trucks are operational, but TNT has the signed agreement for them to do the work on this Chevy 6500. Haven't heard anything on a date yet. Vehicle replacement plan on page 12. Next major equipment on the list would be the skid steer in 2030. So if the voters don't approve the additional monies over the next couple of years, that could throw that off a little bit. But it's,
How are we making out on the truck for the highway or for the sewer department?
we haven't got back to it. It's just, sorry, Rob, I don't sit around all day waiting for people to come in and find something for me to do, so I'm not trying to not do it. It's just, it's where my priorities are.
No,
So,
I'm just asking.
yeah, we also have to reach out to them about some geish, quick attachments for the excavator and the bucket. They're actually a dealer up there, so, and I wish Jeff was on. He said he's been trying to get even last year, trying to get a quote from them, and they didn't reply. So if it's the same point of contact for the truck, I'll reach out to them, because we need to replace that bucket and wrist on the excavator. Roads posted, haven't heard anything that loggers are sneaking out and tearing up the roads yet. Hopefully they don't. On page number 13, bridges. The bridges that are along the 3.1 miles that we want to pave on East Harborton Road could throw a little bit of a wrinkle in things, because one of them has been deemed in really poor condition. And so we're working with the state bridge folks to have somebody come out and explain to us everything that they've put on there, because some of it I don't. I want somebody to like point at it and go, boom, grunt and point at it, so I know what they're talking about.
Mike, could you skip over the bridges? Why do you have to have a decision whether to pave the bridges or not? Can you stop at the bridge and start on the other
I
side?
can, but it's just, I mean, if the bridge is in good condition, they say we can just redeck it or go over the decking, that's fine. But if it's a superstructure issue and putting more weight on it, because otherwise we'd mill it. We'd have to mill off. If we're putting 2 inches down, we're gonna mill 2 inches off it, so we don't put additional weight on it. But I want someone that is an engineer to say, no, you're good, just, you can put another 2 inches right over top of this.
Okay, I just didn't want you to have to wait for that decision to pave it or not pave it. But
Yeah, no,
that's not gonna be an issue, right?
No.
Okay.
Jeff's already been talking to him, so.
Okay.
Runners ordered, yeah.
Are those bridges our responsibility? If
They
something
are.
needs to be done to them? Ugh.
Yeah, we got like $80,000 in our coffers, and I don't know what we're gonna do if there's any major,
I don't think that buys a lot of bridge.
probably
No.
not.
They're kinda narrow too. I don't know if that comes into play or not, but.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll get somebody to look at it with us, and we can ask all those questions. Dewey, I'm on page 15, Dewey Field, there's money that's been carried over and in the budget for our fields, and I sent out an email to the Friends of Rec and the Rec Commission and the Rec Director, about setting up a meeting here so we can talk about a way forward, how we're gonna do this. Because we lose this money every year, or carried over, and then it doesn't get used. And so we have to have a discussion, and I know there was some stuff that Mr. Brown was talking about with a company about what they might do for us, and I really need to know that too, because that money can be used for something else if we're not gonna.
I know Andy sent an email to them and CC'd me on it, so we should know this week. If they don't respond, I guess they're not doing anything.
Okay.
Hopefully they will.
All right.
Okay, John Michael,
That was on, where's that at?
you were on
15.
15, but
Yeah, 15, so on 16 is just, there's, in highlighted, it says request the select board consider, that's been on the list, that hasn't changed, that $5,000 has been on there, but again, it really depends on what might be donated for time or effort, where we go. I did reach out to a local contractor about the T-ball field, if they'd be willing to donate their time and equipment, to finish that parking area. If the town provides, we got gravel and all that stuff. See if they just donate their time. Waiting for an answer on that.
you've got to act pretty quick. You've got 3 months left, right?
I know.
I just want to point that out.
Yep. And the same with ARPA for the T-ball, I just said the T-ball field.
On ARPA, are we online to use it all in the right time?
No. Well, I say no, but when it got dumped into the general fund, what it's gonna do at the end of this fiscal year, it's gonna create a surplus of that money, the amount of money we put in there. So at the end of the year, you got, the board has to make a decision on whether you're going to make a resolution to carry the money, whatever we don't spend for those like stormwater, there's no way stormwater projects in the village are gonna be done by June 30th of this year. It is not happening. Same with the salt and sand shed. I mean, that project's gonna go past June 30th of this year. So there's some things that you might have to make a resolution on, because if it doesn't, then it goes back in the general fund, and then it has to go before the voters to decide on how to use it in March. So that's bad timing, just timing wise. You've already made most of those commitments anyway. It's just now doing the work. and then looking at what's not gonna get done by June 30th, and having a resolution to carry that past June 30th.
And that will still meet all of ARPA's rules.
We're done ARPA's rules. Soon as it get dumped into the general fund, then it's no longer an ARPA issue. So when I do the report here coming up in April, all ARPA money, as far as the federal government will be concerned, is used. It's not been obligated because it got put into the general fund, and it paid down wages. So what happened, it paid the wages for the police department, fire department before June 30th of '24, this past fiscal year. And then, so that budget now is a surplus. And it's just, that's the way that's what towns were told to do by the league. And so we followed it, and our auditors are very familiar with it. Other towns had to do this too, so they.
Yeah, that's what tripped the other audit, right?
Yes, it tripped the single audit, yeah. Because we spent over $750,000 of federal dollars.
But once that audit's complete, as far as the federal government's concerned, we're done
Correct.
with ARPA. We have to administrate it internally and make sure that we did what we said we were gonna do.
Just didn't want to lose it.
No, we're not, it's definitely not lost now. And as long as our accounting staff stays on top of it, we can use it where we told the voters we were gonna use it.
It's just,
But it's all internal now, the feds are out of it. Or it will be once the single audit's complete.
all right, see if today, am I talking about Memorial Day? Yeah, I know today, the tree warden was out with, the highway crew. They're starting to work on some of this stuff at the, beach, and other town properties where there was dead or dying trees. But by Memorial Day, we wanted all that stuff to be done, cut down, removed at the beach, so they can open and not have dead branches hanging over people's heads and, or trees. The surveillance cameras, Justin asked, Royals to give us a re-quote that. Probably not gonna be much of a change, but, basically it's about $2,500 to put the cameras in that, it's 50%, the grant's a 50% match, so our share's $25,000 for all the projects, but the beach, it's gonna get surveillance cameras now. So when they're breaking in or tearing the place up, hopefully we'll.
You just say 25,000 or 2,500?
If I said 25,000, I meant 2,500.
That's what I thought.
Got the money for the fire station, for the claim, they did not, like I said before, they didn't pay for the repair of putting the black pipe in, but they gave us the money for the water damage that was done to the walls and ceilings. And, for the, mitigation that was done by Julie Ellis. Over a door, so all the doors are put in the garage now. One is a little premature and the panel, but they're in. Emergency management on page 20. We still have to get the Legion inspected by, the Red Cross for sheltering. They need to come back in.
They did come for the fire inspection.
Yeah, the fire marshal, yeah. Yeah, the Legion comes in to give it their blessing, so that otherwise, if we don't do it, then if we have to expand that or ask for the American Legion's help, the Red Cross's help, if they haven't done this, they won't use it as a shelter, with their help and supplies. Bottom of 20, the apparatus, the old Maxim's gone. They were able to move some stuff around. They got a Chevy Tahoe being stored inside of it. The
Is that the cruiser, the Tahoe?
Yeah. They did, they are working on the inspections between Evan, our mechanic, doing the services and undercoating them, and they're going to Avalanche if they needed, for inspection. So engine 6 still has a little bit, and then there's tie rod ends that need to be put on the tanker, and that's pretty much, we're good. Tires on engine 3, but they're just gonna get quotes for they're good right now, but by next inspection, they're gonna need them.
And your brakes are fine on the tanker, right?
They are. Yeah. I think that was it, right? Nope, sorry. And on page 22, the stormwater runoff, so we'll meet with Hillary and Stone Engineering. I don't need to be there with them, but I want to be, so they can do their field work. I'm on page 23, hazardous tree was removed, and Scott told me today, as well as Jeff, saying that they did a good job cleaning it up. And I got a hold of Lamey's, and they were gonna write a check for 50% of the bill to Black Bear. And ours was, we sent them our half payment.
Did we get any of the wood for our town garage?
I think it was, no.
It was gone.
It was rotted.
They just took it.
Yeah.
The black bear took it. Okay.
It's a white popple, it's not worth much for firewood
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, well, I didn't know the outside furnace or whatever, so.
Yeah, we got enough wood to last us for forever and a day. This whole thing was, the last one, the greatest, the one that'll probably be the most discussion. 23, page 23, stormwater at the Green Mountain Church of Christ. Our guys went down, did some elevation readings, looked at this, and I'm torn on this one because I understand their complaint, but I'm not sure really what to do about it. It's out of the right of way, goes back quite a ways. We can't put a structure in V-Trans right away. So if we put a structure in, like a catch basin, it'd have to be on the church's property. And there was a quote, I don't know if I put it in here. Jeff gave me a quote. The structure was about almost $1,500, and then you're talking labor and time and for our folks. But if you do it there, you're probably gonna be asked to do it on the other side because it's torn up on the entrance into the auto parts store as well. So I don't know what the select board wants to do about this one, but some of the town crew said, well, that they used to pond water there before the sidewalk was there too. So I'm not sure what if all the water is contributed to their pavement breaking up, or if it was already on its way. I don't know.
Well, the sidewalk being higher than it was ever before restricted the water flow to the catch basin that's there. But
That's what their argument was, is once the sidewalk got put in, it caused the water to pond there. But the V-Trans didn't care. Like, if it's coming off private property, you can't discharge it into our right-of-way and into our catch basin anyway. Even though it went there. I mean, over time, things happen, but they're like, we're not gonna make accommodations for that, because you can't do it.
You have to swim to get to the Legion right now.
that's what I mean, all those houses went down through there. We were all told that the sidewalk wasn't gonna be any higher than the current elevation, and it is. And it caused all kinds of problems, because now all the water flows back instead of flowing where it always did before.
And the town spent money, have VHB engineers come in front of, next to Beverage King at Ducharme's place there, and took elevations, and they said, elevations that we get are what the elevations were at the time, before construction, when they took the elevations there, and I'm like, I don't know how to argue that. I'm not a civil engineer. I mean, they brought down all their equipment and set it up and said it matches what the elevations were pre-construction. Like, how do I argue that? So, Brett,
You don't, but the sidewalk was put in, so that was basically a dam. That's what it was. It was a dam. So, no, you can't argue that. But that has nothing to do with the sidewalk blocking the water. But if you're saying the water wasn't supposed to go into the catch basin even before, then.
the town's raised holy hell with, Dick, you might have been on the board up at, where, Point of Pines comes out by Railroad or Real Road up on, closer to Green Dump side. There was water being discharged there into the road, and the town ended up suing over that and said you can't discharge your water into the town's right of way. So,
That was before my time, but I remember hearing about it.
So we can't saw cut the sidewalk to allow the water to go through?
You can,
I mean, it would be I don't know I don't really, I mean, you could cut channels in it, but
Water runs downhill.
well, that's, I mean, and I get it. I mean, this, I'm not laughing at the people by any means. But I'm just like, this is what happens. I mean, water runs downhill and then people don't like it at the bottom of the hill. And we're like, what, in this case, they're saying that the sidewalk caused the dam to cause the ponding. I don't have the knowledge of what it looked like before that.
I walked that probably 5 times a day through there in the summertime. And there was always a smidgen of water there, but nothing like it is now. Not even close.
I'll come back to you with the final costs, but, we have to be able to pitch whatever's there to get it to the catch basin, or else it won't work. And so that's gonna probably have to resurface that area, because they're saying that the water that's ponded back there is caused their pavement to crack and fall apart. It's all alligator cracked. So if you don't fix that, then it's really not a fix. It's just gonna fall apart again. But what do we do is the question.
Your time's up, Mr. Town Manager.
Right.
You're 6 minutes over.
Not pardon your question, I mean, we're still working on getting to the cost, but I mean, we have the cost for the structure and an estimated cost by FEMA rates, what our equipment and all that, and the, materials and stuff would be. And it's like $6,000. Out-of-pocket expenses, $1,500 for the structure, which comes with the top and everything. About to go buy some stone and pavement.
Does that conclude your report? Purchase orders.
We all set with that?
I have 3. How many you got, Rob?
1, 2, 3. I would make a motion to approve purchase order number 053709 to Black Bear Tree and Land Forest for the removal of the poplar tree at 445 Main Street for the sum of $2,750.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would make a motion to approve purchase order number 053729 to Earl's Truck Repair for the sum of $3,075 for recovery of the Dodge 5500 Ram.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Well, there's a lesson learned out of that.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. I know you're itching.
The wing, he got off off to the side and got his front tire over the edge and ended up tipping that thing on its side. And they tried doing it ourselves, couldn't do it. Tried R&D, couldn't do it. And they finally had to get Earl's, and it was like, I don't know, it started up. I think the debacle started at 10:30 at night. But he wasn't using his wing, and he was told that he needs to start using the wing. That'll help him keep him away from.
That'll keep them in the center of the road.
Yeah. This is his last road too.
Stuff happens.
We had another one. There's another bill that Earl's had to come over and pull a single, or Mike Smith went off the road up on Belgo. Come around the corner and there's a car right in the middle, and he had to go off the side and sucked him right over, and they couldn't get it out. They had to have Earl's pull that one out too.
We good? Did we vote on that one?
Nope, not yet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I had signed it.
I would make a motion to approve purchase order number 053710 to the treasurer for the county of Rutland for the sum of $44,128.08 for the county tax assessment for fiscal year 7/1/25 to 6/30/26.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I just have a question. Why are we paying this now if it's not until July.
One of those prepaid expenses we get from them, I don't know, we always,
This was voted on at, no, Mark's election, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's, the voters have approved the expense, I'm just thinking, you know, that they've certainly got their hand out quick enough, that's all.
Good assessment, Mr. Coombs.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Ready for warrants?
I am.
Would make a motion to approve warrant number 0310R for the sum of $700. Warrant number 0307 for the sum of $68,193.39. Warrant number 0310 for the sum of $56,385.28. Warrant number 0227P for the sum of $24,789.60. And warrant number 0306P for the sum of $20,051.44.
Got a motion and a second to approve the warrants, any discussion?
Yes, I have something.
I'm listening.
How do we approve our stipends to ourselves? How is that legal? Mr. Brown, do you know the answer to that?
I think it's perfectly legal. I think that's,
It obviously is, but I just wondering if there's, what the statute was on it. How do you do that?
I don't think there's a statute that prohibits it. Right, it's the same thing that happens in Congress. They both pay raises for themselves.
Okay.
because there's nobody above you that can approve it.
No, but
Maybe we ought to vote a pay raise.
I didn't go there. I didn't say that. I just want to know if there was an explanation for it, that's all.
I was thinking about holding yours back to make sure we got done on time.
I don't think,
That would be up to, he doesn't get a stipend.
I don't think any,
No, he had you.
There's no conflict of interest in that.
Okay.
I don't believe there's a conflict of interest because, you know, you're not, whether you make this decision or not, doesn't really constitute a personal or a financial gain in and above anything that isn't usual and customary. It's not like you're voting on hiring your daughter to paint the bedroom or paint the meeting room here or something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, okay.
Cost you that much in gas to come here.
Did you vote on them?
Not yet.
All in favor of approving the warrants?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is, nobody does this for the money.
I hope not.
It's like the volunteer, well, like I said before though, at least with this and the fire department, even though it doesn't really cover the expenses of what it costs you to do this, at least you don't have to pay to volunteer. I used to have to pay Boy Scouts of America to be a scoutmaster.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. It always bothered me to have to, all them, you know, all the stuff that, my co-leader and I spent our own money on to make sure the boys had a good time and did
St. John's
the
Law
program.
School.
And we still had to pay, I think it was like $50
Talk
a
about
year
coming out
registration
puffy
fee.
chested.
Yeah.
Do you know who I am?
Since then.
Everybody's got their hand out there.
That's the same with the
Well,
Girl
there's some-
Scouts too.
Well, there were some things that we used to do that were kind of not according to BSA regulations. Like, we did a bottle drive. We were supposed to send all that money to the council, and then they could send back some if they wanted to. We never did.
Well, that's like when
I'll- I'll
the
conf-
Boy Scouts are selling popcorn, and the Girl Scouts are selling cookies. They get hardly nothing.
Actually, the Boy Scouts got a better deal on the popcorn than the Girl Scouts got on the cookies, but you're right, there still was a good share of that went to council.
What I always did, I refused the popcorn, I refused that, and I gave them money to go just to their
Yeah.
troop.
Like I said, we didn't report some of it, I shouldn't admit this, well, we're not being recorded.
We're on Peg TV though.
Oh. Talk about it later. Thank you, Rob.
Ooh, good catch, Rob.
Let's just say that the boys got to go to summer camp.
You're gonna be getting a knock on your door tomorrow, Dick.
That's past the statute, I'm sure. I have been a scoutmaster for at least 10 years.
They're coming to take their money back.
I have an issue with the council buying a new Yukon Denali for the district chairman every year.
Yeah?
I have an issue with that.
Yeah?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Those are pretty expensive.
Yeah. Or every 2 years, something like that, you got a new rig every 2
We
years.
could've had a more practical vehicle.
Yeah.
And I think, I just thought that was a bit. Yukon Denali when we went to California a few years back. It was a nice ride.
They're nice, yeah.
It's as nice as my pickup, or
Yeah.
maybe nicer.
Yeah.
It was the same frame, same dashboard, just like that in my truck. So we are looking for a grand total of 5 tonight, Rob.
That chair is so damn squeaky.
Oh, no. I'm trying not
This one's not that, this one's not quiet either. We got them all, Rob? Yep. Perfect. Where's my agenda? Okay, purchase orders for approval. Warrants for approval. Select board comments. Mary Lee, you go first.
I guess it's not a comment, I think it's more action items. I'd like a list of what we gotta do before we come back to work.
I have that right here.
Okay.
We're gonna go over that.
I have no comments.
Rob?
I'm good tonight, Dick.
Mark?
A couple things I want to mention. We talked about discussing EMS fees with the university. I just want to keep that on topic. Something I've been thinking about for a little while, I'm just going to mention while we have a second, is when you look at the amount of tourism that we have coming for the rail trail, in a lot of communities, you can, they have an interactive walking tour that you put on your phone, an app. So if you were a visitor, you could click on that and walk down Main Street, and it would tell you the Thomas Dake House, where the Historical Society was, walking tour of the college, where businesses are. And I talked to a friend of mine that's the head of IT for the university, and he said he thinks that they could probably make that happen. They certainly have the technology and the people there to do that. And he's gonna do some exploratory work on that, but they might want a couple $1,000s in help doing it. And I just wanted to kind of float that out there and see if anybody thought that was a worthwhile project.
I think I know where in the budget that money might be, so.
If you think it's worthwhile. In my opinion, it is. When my wife and I travel, we don't really travel very far, but it's usually 3-4 day trips to different towns, and we always go on bicycles, and a lot of places have that, so you know where you're going. If you're in a car, you can drive around, cover it pretty quick. If you're walking, you want to make sure you go the right place.
Right direction, yeah.
So I think it would be good for tourism, and I think it would be good for businesses in Main Street.
Certainly willing to have the conversation.
Okay.
And I think that could be funded without too much discussion. I think there's already a place for that already in the budget, but we need to be sure of that before I,
Okay. I'm going to tell them to keep looking at it.
please do.
I know we had a brief conversation, there's that big oil spill down here that we should be billing for that.
That does happen.
You did, good.
Justin finished it. He told me today that he has it all wrapped up, but they're just waiting on the blame games, like, which insurance company's gonna go to, so.
Yeah, and they hope that you'll forget about it.
We don't forget. We've been down that road before, Mark.
Okay. And the last thing, I sent an email out about this, when Tyler Technologies was here, they said that they looked at 23% of the properties in town. From my research, 50% is considered a minimum, right? I looked through the scope of work that they bid on, and there's, one of the things supposed to do is verify that the outside measurements of every structure are correct. Well, they clearly haven't done that.
I think they said 23, they did 23% of them, they went inside and did in-house inspections.
Correct. And unless they did an in-house, they couldn't have done the outside.
All they
Right.
did at my place was the outside.
Oh, they didn't go inside at all. I think he just said home inspections, didn't he?
No, I believe he said inside.
He said interior.
Interior inspections was 23%.
Oh, okay, my mistake. So how many, what was the percentage of homes that they actually visited?
100.
Really? 100%? But they didn't do yours, and they
Well,
didn't do
don't-
yours.
He was at his house,
I saw them backing out of my driveway. but
so
I
we don't
didn't-
know the extent that they did.
I don't know, I can't confirm or deny if the person ever got out of their vehicle. I do know they didn't knock on my back door.
I don't think they can measure your house without,
You said they're using
Tom?
lasers and
okay.
angles.
They used a tape measure at my house.
Did they? So they're
I had
using
the whole
lasers
front
and
end of the
angles.
tape.
They say lasers, but has anybody seen them do it? You saw them use a tape.
I
Just,
did.
just the cats.
I can't state that they did not get out of their vehicle, but I do know they did not knock on the door.
It just seems to me that,
I think that there was a rather significant jump in number of homes in a short period of time.
yeah.
So
You
you
know,
know,
he
read
said
between the
that-
lines on that one, what I'm trying to say, but.
I do know that.
Well,
I'm
they're
going-
paid a lot of money to go around and do this work.
Correct.
And it doesn't appear to me, I don't have any expertise in this field, so I would like to have that conversation with them, because as a layperson with no experience in this, it does not appear to me that they've done that work by the scope that we put out for bid. And this is super important, you know? You can't just look and say, geez, all the houses on Main Street that sold in the last 3 years sold for 40% more than they did 5 years ago, so we'll just add 40% to all the
That's what he
values.
told us he was gonna do.
That's just not doing the work.
No, some houses are worth a lot more than others regardless.
And that's what this is all about, right? That there could be 4 very similar colonial homes, and, you know, one of them's had a $50,000 custom kitchen and saunas and new bathrooms, and the end result, the house is worth a lot more than the identical one across the road that's about ready to fall in, right? You can't just drive by and go, look at that, same architect, same value. They're just not, and they're getting paid a lot of money to do this work in an accurate way, so we truly reflects.
My
And
house-
maybe they've done that, just doesn't look it to me.
My viewing was, everything stayed the same as before? Yep, okay, see ya. That's what I got.
Mark, I'm going to be meeting with Mary Jo tomorrow afternoon to discuss this very issue and
Okay.
figure out what our next steps are. Would you like to participate in that?
What time tomorrow?
I don't know yet. I gotta talk to Mary Jo.
I
I know I can't do it in the morning because I have to go to Rutland.
think I'm gonna be out of town in the afternoon, but give me a call and let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna call her in the morning and on my way to Rutland, but I have to be in Rutland at 10:30, so the odds of getting back there before lunch are slim.
The one thing that concerns me is they said that, if they did it as a drive-by or whatever, they left something on your door. There's nothing on my door. Catching me home would be a problem anyway, but I should have had a card or something.
You absolutely should have.
Well, like I said, I can tell you they didn't knock on my door. I can't verify whether they got out of their vehicle or not. But anyone who's familiar with my house, I was sitting at my table eating lunch. I saw a flash in the driveway, so I went and looked out the door.
You would have been aware if someone had knocked on the door.
And they were backing out of my driveway and heading south on Whitlock Road towards the 2 people behind me. So, I doubt they got out of their car, but I can't state for sure. Like I said, though, if they had walked up to my back door to knock on the back door, I would have seen them.
Did they come to your place?
They did, because early on, I was really interested to see how the process would go. So when it first started, I forget if they sent out an email and I responded to it, you could pick dates, times, and the guy came, and he came in the door to my dining room, and I asked him if he wanted to go in the basement or upstairs, and he said no, he didn't need to. So,
Did you start with, would you like to go upstairs, or did you say, do you wanna go into the basement?
Okay, let's,
I'm just thinking that if
When the guy came to my house, I let him inside also, and the first thing he asked me is, has anything changed in here in the last 7 years? Nope.
if a real estate agent was coming to your house to determine how much to list it for, do you think he would have gone in the
Recording in
basement and
progress.
upstairs? Right? Because essentially,
stopped.
that's what they're doing. They're supposed to be determining what the fair market value of every piece of property is. And it should be done accurately. They're getting paid a substantial amount of money. I know it's a lot of work, and again, you're taking care of it, so
I
I'm
think
good.
it's safe to say that everyone in this board is skeptical. So I'm going to start, well, I've already started, but I'm going to continue on that line to find out just where we stand as far as getting state approval for this appraisal, because the last thing I want to have is for the state to not approve it. And I also need to be sure that it's accurate. So I'm going to be meeting with Mary Jo tomorrow afternoon, and if you can be available, if not, then I'm sure there's going to be more than one.
Probably. Good. I'm glad you're on top of it.
Anything else, Mark?
I'm all done now.
Bob?
I think Mark covered a lot of my things, but the manhole and sewer covers, I spoke to Jeff today on South Street, and just, they're caving in. I don't know if that's normal, but I don't notice that in any other streets, but.
Like sinking down, I mean?
Well, yeah, and the pavement is all cracked around 2 or 3 of them, just like up here on Road 30. Jeff said that you were comfortable that after the frost goes out, the road will settle back down and it'll be better. That's what he said to me today. I'm just telling you what he said, and I wish he was on there because he could back me up, but.
I do know when they paved that, they put risers in on all the manholes.
Yeah, well, you hit those now and you know you hit some kind of pothole. because
It's
they're-
okay, Mike says it'll be fine.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
Okay, sure.
I just threw you under the
Yeah.
the
that's
bus
all
or
right.
whatever.
I'll have a
The
conversation
fuel
with him.
truck that I was driving, so that's one thing. I think Mark touched on, I was gonna ask you the update on the VSU at Castleton's reinstating their yearly donation, but I think that you spoke to that already, Mark.
Yes,
It was, you mentioned.
the
on this
fees.
Public service building. Yeah, I didn't know it was specific to that, but yeah, that's covered then.
All EMS.
Yeah, yeah. And then the update on the salt and sand shed, and I think you kinda covered that too in your manager's
Yeah.
report. We hadn't heard nothing for quite a while, and I just.
Yeah, I got a call from the contractor who said, are we doing the site prep work? And I said, well, it's over $2,000. So yes. No, I told him I needed to talk to you, but I don't really want to put it out to bid. The guy's gonna be there doing the work. I'm like, can't we just, but it goes against the bid policy.
So what are you saying? You're waiting on us?
Well, to come back to you to say, do you want me to put this out to bid or, because we can do a lot of the work, but I don't think we can do the final prep work before they put down this building.
I guess I was under the impression that Bud Carpenter was all on top of it, because
He-
you had his guy coming.
He did, but we just looked at, like, where could the building go? And they gave us some ideas of like, yeah, you're gonna have to grade this down. The grade here, obviously, is not, as it goes up the hill towards, the road, it's gonna, like, towards, Hattica's.
Yeah, yeah.
The ground goes up there, we're gonna have to do some excavation. A lot of that we can do, but like the final prep work, especially if it's stormwater related, we're gonna put in storm drains or not storm drains, but, catch basins and stuff like that.
So we're kinda waiting on
We need to hear back from Hillary or somebody on that.
That's the holdup right now?
Yeah, because I don't know what needs to be done, so it's hard to tell a contractor to say,
What
this
to
is what
bid
we need
on,
done.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
We want you to bid on this, but we don't know what it is we want you to do. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna fly.
$2, good.
To me, I wanted to see things move a little
Yeah.
faster and
So,
just.
Unfortunately, I'm certainly not making excuses, because there's no sense in doing that, but there's just so much that goes on during a week, that some things just get put to the back burner, because I've got Bob Spalding or Dick Combs or Roy Newton or anybody coming to my office. I mean,
I didn't come in your office today, I purposely.
And I don't have
left.
Hannah now, so it's gonna make it even worse. So, It's, so that's why things a lot of times take more time, is just.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Oh, I had one more thing, if I could. I think everybody got that email from Devin Neary about the regional select board meetup. Are we interested in that?
Yes, but I haven't put any thought into it whatsoever. I will.
The village school.
Probably here. I went to the first one in West Rutland. I think there were 25 people. And it was kind of a round table. Everybody met each other and they discussed what issues different communities were having. Of course, they're pretty similar. Pretty good discussion, and they want to continue to do this quarterly and see if there's any synergies between towns. You know, do you learn things from other select boards? Are there places that we can cost share things? You know, could 2 or 3 or 4 towns own a roadside mower together? And the next one is coming up, and Devin's looking at having it in Castleton, and he put 2 dates out there, April.
Well, that's okay, don't worry about it right now.
Okay.
I have the email, I can go back to it and look at it.
Okay, I'm just thinking we'd have to respond to him fairly soon, you know, we can't wait till a week. He's probably gonna wanna pin down a yes or a no from us.
Has he contacted you, Mike, to use the fire station?
No, I got the email trail, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to that first one, but that was 2 days after something rather major happened. Anything else, Bob?
No, I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna move on to action items. You guys covered anything I was going to bring up. Sewer risk assessment, that's Michael Jones' thing, legally. What can we do? Can we protect ourselves legally? Sewer ordinance review, that's the whole Board of Select. What I need you guys to do is take a look at what you want to change on that and email it to me, not in detail, but just topics that we need to discuss. And then I can share them with the rest of the board, so that the next time we come for a sewer meeting, we'll have a list of items that we should have all had a chance to look at to see what our thoughts are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, DRB members, the quantity, we gotta look at that. I have me down for that. What was I supposed to do there?
We're gonna talk with the DRB and see if they wanna keep it at 9 or change it.
Oh, call Laura. I can do that. Okay. Rec charter, that's myself and Mark Brown. I think I'm smart enough, I now have a Word document of that, Mark, and I think I'm smart enough to do a change, a red line document, they call it.
Okay.
And if I'm not, are you?
Red line.
Just send it in black if you would, though.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so that I can make some changes, send them to you, you can see what those changes are, then we can play electronic badminton with it for a day or two and then come up with something that makes sense.
Yep.
Review the UDR. Yes, that's a big one. We've all gotta look at that and decide what we either like or don't like. And then we have to collectively get together and have a discussion about that.
I would like that not to be the next meeting.
Okay.
That's an awful lot to read if you're going to read it carefully.
It is,
Agreed.
yeah.
When do you think is a reasonable length of time to get to that? Do you wanna do it in 4 weeks or 6 weeks, guys?
You can say it a little louder, don't be afraid.
I would say 6. Which is when?
So it's April 21st, the meeting of April 21st?
Second meeting in April.
Yeah.
It's okay with me.
So if you can get back to, no, if you got major things, if you could, send them to me, I can disseminate it to the rest of the board. We can do that as long as we take no action and really don't discuss anything, just make you aware, we can do that legally.
It was April what, 20?
So we're gonna put that on the agenda for April 21st, Mike.
Got it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be here, but I'm gonna read it and I'll send you any.
Okay, so you're gonna be out of town that meeting? Well, we could go to, well, that's May 12th.
No, I'm sure I will. It's the,
The 21st of April.
aren't we the 2nd and 4th?
You're right.
Yeah, 21st is not the second or fourth.
So
Yeah.
the 28th, I won't be here.
Okay.
I'm gonna be somewhere in North Carolina.
I won't be here on the 14th.
How about May 12th? Will that be dragging it out too long for the planning commission, do you think?
Yeah, because then you're gonna have to, you have a 15-day warning period for your hearing. So if you have a lot of stuff, then they're gonna have to go back and do this. I mean, this could be dragging it out to July or August.
Well, let's see if we can have our act together to do it on the 14th of April. That's 5 weeks from now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 weeks, the 14th of April. Let's shoot for that, and if it can't do it, then, we'll know that before the 14th. We can talk about timing at the next board meeting if we need to. Will you be in town on the 14th, Mark?
No, that's when I'm gonna be gone.
Oh, you're gonna be gone. But you can contribute your opinion. I'll be gone on the 28th. Between the 14th and the 28th, we can get it done. Is everyone
Yeah,
else is here?
I'll read it and communicate with you. I'm not gonna have any internet service. I can't Zoom.
Where am I gonna be that day? Yeah, I don't know yet. That's a crapshoot whether I'll have internet that day or not. I can if I'm sitting in the cab of my truck.
Don't you have internet on your bicycle?
No, I'm gonna be in a really, really remote place in Iceland where there's no internet.
Oh, I would love to go to Iceland.
Get your bike out.
You can come. We're gonna get on a whale watch boat and they're gonna take us across a fjord to a volcano and we're gonna ski it for a couple days.
Oh, wow.
Sounds fun.
That's on my list.
All right, we're gonna move on. I'd like to be with you too, except I don't ski very well. But I could sure appreciate the scenery. Then UDR process documentation, you're gonna make copies of that sheet that Karen gave us and make sure all the select board members have a set. So we're all familiar with the process of what it's gonna take to get that approved. That's all I got for action items. What have I forgotten? Okay, then we're gonna move on to,
No, did we have to do anything about this thing?
They're gonna look more into that.
There isn't anything we have to do right away.
Not today, no.
that's the private roads thing. Private versus public, who knows what, maybe Fred had a baby yesterday, we don't know yet.
And we have the Town of Castleton Parks and Recreation Commission one-year draft. Is that in our packet?
Yes.
Yeah, that's been since changed. The ones that I sent out by email, or what I sent them,
Do we need to review that, or
eventually, once they decide, they haven't
decided
those were
yet?
examples for them
Okay.
to follow. They haven't decided yet.
Nothing we have to
At this
do with
point, we
it?
don't have to take action on it, you can look at it over and be aware of what the process is.
Perfect.
Because eventually, they're gonna submit a 1-year and a 5-year plan to us that we have to either accept or reject.
Good, we don't need anything more to read now.
No, we have plenty. I'm done with action items, so do we need an executive session for anything?
Yes.
Which topic? Contracts, personnel? or-
Personnel.
Personnel. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
But I'll be really short.
Make a motion to go in executive session for personnel at 9:44 with the select board and the town manager.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to go into executive session, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night.